If you're ready to start an Amazon FBA business that actually works, this is the video for you. This 2-hour-long free course breaks down everything that you need to know. When I started Amazon over 5 years ago, there was a serious lack of information, and to this day, people are still selling information that I believe should be free. So after years of trial and error and over $4 million sold on my Amazon account, this is the video that I wished I had when I started my Amazon business. Because the truth is that making money on your own has never been easier. With the internet, social media, and tons of new ways to reach millions of people, it has truly never been easier or cheaper to start a business that actually works. But while that's true, the lies about how to do it are also at an all-time high, and this is what I got really tired of when I started my online business. So this video will be your no BS guide covering everything that you need to know to build a $10,000 business in the next 45 days. And to do this, you don't need any technical experience, you don't need thousands of dollars, you don't need to do any marketing or advertising, and you don't even need your own product to sell. And if you've done any research into selling on Amazon already, that might be surprising, but this is the best video for you to watch if you're ready to grab the low-hanging fruit of selling everyday items on Amazon for a profit. And I know that this is one of the best ways to make money online because I tried everything, right? This was me about 6 years ago. I was working for $10 an hour at a chocolate factory. I worked as a cashier. I worked moving furniture. I was doing anything that I could to make money. But right when I started college, I knew that I didn't want to have to punch a time clock to be balancing work with school. You probably don't want to have to be balancing your 9-to-5 job with spending time with your family, working on your hobbies. And so as a college student, I was trying everything. I was drop shipping, I was trying to trade stocks, and I even got started selling products on Amazon by flipping used books. I would buy the textbooks from my other classmates, the people who lived in my dorm, and I would flip those books on Amazon. And I actually ended up building a used book business that did about $100,000 in sales. And that taught me a ton about selling on Amazon, but I knew it wasn't the long-term scalable model that would work to give me the life of freedom that I wanted. And so that's where I stumbled into the methods that I'm going to be giving you today. And using those exact same methods, my business just did $422,000 in sales in a single month. And for all the doubters and haters out there, this is literally the profit numbers on that $422,000 sold. After all of our cost of goods sold, Amazon fees, all that good stuff, we ended up making over $70,000 in net profit. And this is the type of stuff that most of the online gurus or whatever you want to call us won't share with you. But with this in mind, I have a massive warning for you, right? This is not a get rich quick scheme. If you're expecting to become a millionaire in the next 4 months selling on Amazon or any of these crazy promises you hear out there on YouTube, this is not the video for you. But if you're willing to work hard on a long-term play to build wealth using real elbow grease and proven methods, then this is the video for you. And it's not just working for me either. I want to show you a couple examples of real everyday people, right? So this is Sam. She started her Amazon business when she already had a young kid, and 3 months into her business, she had a baby. That same month that she had her baby, she ended up doing $50,000 in sales. And here she is later that year in December, and she did over $275,000 in sales. Over here on the right is Tom. He started his Amazon business and was able to scale to about $1 million in around a year. And then a few months after that, he did over $600,000 in sales in a single month selling on Amazon. And so this isn't fake. You can even see him down there in the bottom right. You can see him thanking myself and my friend Miles for helping him make some money on Amazon. And it's not just those two people either, right? It's people like Sam, who was able to do over $300,000 in his first 6 months. There was also Zach, who was able to quit his job and stay at home with his 3-year-old son. And there's tons and tons of success stories of people who are willing to come in, give this business legitimate effort, and they saw awesome results. So what even is this business, right? I don't want to waffle too long here. I want to show you some specific examples of products that you could literally buy and sell today. The products that we sell on Amazon are simple, everyday items, the types of brands that you probably have in your house right now. Stuff like this foundation from Revlon, we can buy it right now for $9 from this website. And then we can sell this same foundation on Amazon right now for $21. And when we plug that into a simple profit calculator, we can see that's going to leave us with a profit of $4.84. And this makeup sells over 4,000 times a month, split between all these different colors. There's also examples like this pair of shoes, right? We can sell name brand shoes like Puma, Adidas, Nikes. We can sell these items on Amazon where we can find them at websites like this for $30 on sale. And then this same pair of shoes is selling on Amazon right now for about $69. And you can see this is $60 plus some delivery fee right now, just so you know that it is actually 69 bucks. We're buying them for 30, which is again going to leave us with a $20 profit. And again, this listing sells almost 200 times a month. It's a very standard white colored shoe. And so we know that we can come in and sell these established name brand products products on Amazon without having to do any fancy marketing, advertising. Customers are already buying these products. So all we have to do, and I'm going to break down everything that you need to know to find these items today. All we have to do is find these items on other websites cheap enough to sell on Amazon for a profit. No advertising, no making listings, none of that required. So this video is going to cover all the strategies and all the A to Z steps of going from a complete beginner to your first $10,000 month with Amazon FBA. Because this video is over 2 hours of my absolute best content that covers everything from finding your first winning products, making those first sales as soon as humanly possible, getting approved, getting ungated to sell big brands, all of the guides and tips and tricks to use the tools that I wished I had when I started, the best ways to ship out your products, and eventually how to outsource your business so that you can make more and more money selling on Amazon while you spend less and less time on the business. And so as we jump into it here, if you want to get maximum value out of this video, please be sure to take notes, pull out your notepad, your iPhone, wherever you want to take notes, pause the video and come back as needed. There's a ton of information in this video. So feel free to pause the video, take some notes, rewind a little bit, go back and rewatch whatever didn't make sense to you. At any point in the video, I am speaking too fast or teaching too fast for you. I do love to teach at a quick pace. I want to respect your time as a business owning adult, but if I go too fast for your preferences, you can always click the settings wheel on YouTube and slow down the playback speed to 0.75 or 0.5. And so without further ado, let's jump into the first module of the free course here. I'm going to break down everything that you need to know to use the first paid research tool that you're going to need. The tool is called Keepa. It's $20 a month. And if you use it correctly, you will end up making way more profitable buying decisions than the average Amazon seller. Think of this first module as the fundamentals to being able to do advanced product research. Let's dive into it. Let's just go ahead and get it started off right here. Keepa is going to embed on any Amazon page right down here. You can see here's the Keepa chart. There's a ton of different data that we can go ahead and toggle, but I want to go ahead and explain some of the most important stuff. And as we do, you'll probably see why this tool is only 20 bucks a month, but it is essential for your Amazon business. So the first thing that we can do on the Keepa chart here is check out the sales rank history. So this green line over time basically charts how popular the item was. So we can see over the last little bit, we've got it toggled down to the year. We can see that it's been pretty consistent. And the closer this number is to 1, the closer it is to the fastest selling product in that category. In this case, it's probably home and kitchen. And the other thing I can see based on this Keepa chart is that it has sold faster in the past. For example, we can see here last December, we can see how the sales rank was dipping lower and lower, which kind of makes sense. It's a pain, you might get it as a Christmas gift or something like that. And as we went further into the season, now it's just kind of a more standard sales rank. It's been very consistent recently, but we might see it start to dip again. And that could be something you can keep your eye on as we are getting closer to Christmas while I'm filming this video. So you can be on the lookout for patterns like that. The next thing that's really important on these charts here is the buy box line. This is showing me the buy box price over time. The buy box, by the way, is this big button up here. Anytime you have bought products on Amazon as a customer, you've probably been aware of this, but you probably weren't aware of what it's called. This is the buy box. This is where a huge percentage of sales on Amazon goes through. You got to win the buy box to be making sales on Amazon. And so this is charting the buy box over time. And the reason why this is valuable is we can see, is my item more expensive than it usually is? Is it cheaper than it usually is? And there's a lot of other data that we can infer based on how the buy box price is acting. So in this case, as I mouse along the buy box, I can see that back here in July, the item sold for 53 bucks. Recently, the item's been selling for about 50 bucks, but there's no real indicator that the price is going to keep dropping down. And we're going to look further into this chart and we'll be able to see how to predict the future based on what's going on here. But this is the buy box line. You can also zoom this out to as long as the item has ever existed on Amazon. In this case, this particular pattern has sold on Amazon for quite a while. But when I'm doing product research, I'm typically looking at the year view, or a lot of times it's even just the 3-month view. Right now, as we're getting closer to Christmas, I'm looking at the year view a lot to see, was it selling super fast last Christmas? Did the price go way up? And based on how it acted last year, a lot of times we're going to know if the price is going to go up. So in this case, we saw that this item did sell way faster during the Christmas season, but the price didn't necessarily go up. And so we might not necessarily be super interested in stocking up on this for Christmas because the price just kind of stayed stable last year. And it's not going to be perfect. The same pattern isn't going to repeat itself every year, but that's just kind of how I think about that. The next thing I want to go ahead and toggle here is the Amazon data. And so this could explain why the price didn't go up last Christmas. If it was for sale by third-party sellers like you and I on the buy box right here, there would be no orange highlighted here. Whenever Amazon is selling the listing or was selling the listing, you can see it's going to be highlighted orange here. So we can see last year during, through December all the way through about middle of February, Amazon was selling on this listing. As soon as they sold out, the sales rank went up, which makes sense because the price went up, but it was also still selling because that sales rank was still, we're still seeing some drops during this period, which shows me that people are still buying this item for $85, which is pretty cool. If you're able to come in here for whatever reason, everybody goes out of stock or something like that, we have proof that people are willing to $55 for this item. So the next thing I want to show you guys the difference between is the new price versus the buy box price. So what's interesting about Amazon is the lowest price isn't necessarily always going to be the one making sales. That's a super big misconception. In fact, you can make sales way above the least expensive options on these listings. As you can see right here, a seller has been on these recently for about $32.99. Imagine that this is a merchant fulfilled seller and they're charging shipping. Typically, you don't see this big of a difference between the new price being low and the buy box price where people are actually buying the item. So I bet this is like a merchant fulfilled seller. There's some shipping costs we're not thinking about or something like that. A lot of your items, pay attention to this new price and especially these FBA cones here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off buy box to show you how this works. Basically, the FBA triangles right here, these are charting the FBA prices over time. And we can also toggle the FBM prices over time. So we can see here when we toggle that on, the FBA prices, that's when we're shipping it to Amazon's warehouse. They sent it to the customer for us. And the FBM options fulfilled by merchant, that's shipping it straight to the customer ourselves. They're pretty much equal in terms of what that final price is. So when that new price was lowered down there at $33 or so, really it's getting an addition from shipping. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And we can see over time how these triangles sometimes can differ from the actual buy box, and sometimes they're going to chart the buy box very, very closely. And so another thing that we can figure out by looking at this chart here is how a lot of times you can actually make sales of higher prices than the FBM sellers if you are FBA. That's one of the big benefits. In fact, I'll zoom way in here so you can see how at this exact point in time, someone was selling this item for $50 as a merchant fulfilled seller, but the buy box was going to a seller at $51.20, which by the way, wasn't even the cheapest FBA offer on the listing because you can see the cheapest FBA seller was $51.17. So there's a lot of things we can see there. And the big thing I want you guys to remember is that you can sell these items on Amazon for way more than the current lowest FBA or lowest FBM price. And so up top, this is the majority of the simple Keepa filters that I'm using. Most of the time, I've just got that clicked off and that's what my Keepa charts look like. That's how I prefer to look at it. Some of you guys might like to turn this off and just see buy box. Totally up to you. Totally up to user preference on that. You can also toggle the used prices on a lot of these items. Personally, I only flip new products. I used to do a ton of used products though. So if you're someone who's doing books or any of those other business models where you might be selling more used products, definitely look into that. And I have older tutorials on my channel where I was definitely just a bookseller looking those kind of things that might be useful for you as well. The other thing that we can check out here is the middle chart here on Keepa. This is basically charting the sales rank in between individual categories and subcategories. So you can see right here, this pan is currently the 23rd best-selling saute pan on Amazon. I don't personally look at this data super often, but it's kind of interesting to look at. Sometimes you can see some different relationships on here. Again, this isn't the most useful for me. I'm typically using this bottom graph a whole lot more, especially with the new offer count right here. So this is showing me the entire history, anyone who's ever been on this listing and how many sellers there were over time. So one thing that's really interesting as we're making this graph more and more data rich, we can kind of see why the price might have dropped up here on the top. And it's because back here in June, there was like 12 FBA sellers on it, or just 12 sellers in general. But as we've been getting recently, the past couple months, there's been upwards of over 20 sellers on these listings, which has dropped the price by just a couple bucks in this case. Because this listing is selling so fast, selling over 1,000 times a month, that could be why this price hasn't dropped further. But that's one thing I want you guys to be on the lookout for as you're sourcing products is if you see an increase in sellers and the price hasn't reacted yet, that can be a big red flag. And in this case, the main reason why the price has not dropped further is because this product is selling so fast. You're selling over 1,000 times a month. So that's one thing to look out for on the new offer count down here. And you can also toggle used if you're into selling used items. And then I'm also a big fan of using the review count graph down here. Sometimes these can get a little bit glitchy, especially with products that maybe had a variation or something like that. We'll get into that. Seeing sales between products that have variations is another big one. So like we can just zoom out here and we can see how fast that this item is actually gaining reviews, right? And the faster an item is gaining reviews, it's pretty reasonable to assume that it's actually gaining sales. So if you see a lot of action on that review count chart, you know that your product is selling. So in this case here, I'm moused over February. We can see that there was about 2,500 reviews on this listing. And now that we're in October, there's over 2,600 reviews. This is also especially useful over a smaller time horizon. So I've gone ahead and toggled the month time horizon here. And so we've gone from about 2,617 reviews to 2,631 reviews. And the review rate on Amazon is super, super low. It's a couple percentage points, sometimes even lower than 1%. And so if this item has gained, 15 to 20 reviews over the last month, you multiply that by at least 50 to 100 based on the fact that a very small percentage of people are reviewing these items. Again, that's another justification that this item is definitely selling. And I like to use that on listings where I can't tell if the item's really selling. In this case, we can see new sellers dropping off, coming back on, which definitely shows me that this item is selling. We can see the sales rank dipping all over the place, again, showing us that this item is selling. But if there's ever a listing where maybe there's not as much data or Keepa's a little bit glitched, you'll see that on some listings as well. There's all these different things that we can do to tell if the item's actually selling. So review count's a good one. To see the fluctuation in new sellers, a good one. If you ever see the buy box fluctuating around a lot, one thing that's really interesting up here on the top of the Keepa chart, as we mouse over, you're going to notice different orange bars. And sometimes on these listings, you may even see a little bit of blue. In this case, it looks like this seller is maybe one of the only ones that has some blue up there at the top. And that's just showing me that the buy box was either orange FBA or the buy box was blue FBM. And the more you see this chart up here at the top, the more you see these bars rotating back and forth between sellers, the safer I feel about buying these items, because that's showing me that Amazon is sharing the sales between a ton of different sellers. If you ever go to a listing and you mouse over and you see just a solid orange bar all along the top, probably means that it's either the brand themselves is selling it, a distributor has some exclusive relationship, and they're hogging all the sales on the listing. You'll see this a lot when we're looking at products that Amazon is selling. See, if we mouse over back here when Amazon was on the listing, you can see that's solid orange up at the top. Amazon just was simply not sharing sales with third-party sellers, even though there was a lot of third-party sellers at the same price, and there was 6 to 7 sellers on this listing. They just were not sharing sales. So be on the lookout for the buy box up at the top. It's going to show you if you're able to make sales or if somebody's artificially hogging a bunch of the sales. So that's pretty much it for the price history section of Keepa. I want to go ahead and break down the other more advanced sections for you guys as well. And we'll also go through some red flags, some things to look out for on this chart right here, especially for some of you newer sellers. As you're going, you're going to make some mistakes. So I've got some red flag listings picked out for you up here. We're going to take a look at in just a second. But let's go ahead and dive into kind of some more of the detailed versions of Keepa. So Keepa Product Tracker is super slept on by a lot of Amazon sellers. If you're an advanced seller, you're probably sleeping on this feature as well. And so I want to show you just a quick application of how to use this feature. And to do that, I've pulled up an example of a different product here. And the reason why I've chosen this one is because on the price history graph right here, we can see that last Christmas, the price went way up on this item, and right from about $50, $55, all the way up to $80. And so something that's interesting we can do on these products is we can go to track product down here, and then we can start tracking it where it reaches a certain threshold. So in this case, $60 might be the threshold, where usually we're like $50 to $55. I wanted to say, hey, let me know if this price ever goes above $60. And so I can go out and try to start looking for this actual product, and we can say $60 or more, and you can just kind of reverse it with that arrow right there. And so then I'll get an email, or however you want to receive this information, you can plug in your phone number or email to Keepa. And so this can become basically a leads list in your email of products that you went in and weren't really as expensive as they need to be. Let's say you found it. It was, it looked like this or something, right? It's a 4% profit right now. But if the price goes up to $60, I'm definitely interested in sourcing that product. And so I can get an email and say, hey, the product that you liked, it was just a little bit too cheap when you found it, that back up in the price. So then I might go out and try to start sourcing that product. So you can also do that with Amazon, with new price, with used price. If you want to get super fancy with it, you can start tracking items where, Amazon, if they ever mess up and price something too cheap, send me an email and then you can buy it and resell it back on Amazon. Some people do that. It's kind of more advanced, but there's a ton of applications of this track products feature right here. I don't want to overwhelm you too much there, but definitely don't sleep on it. Play around with it. See how it can be useful for your business. The next thing I want to break down is the data tab of Keepa. So product details right here is super awesome. It's going to show you a bunch of averages. If it has variations, it'll have super useful information over here. And you can use a lot of this information to figure out some data you can't tell just by looking at it, right? So for example, I want to make sure that my products are profitable on average, right? Not just today. If the product price was $50 today and it was usually $30, I'd want to know that. So I can go in here and check out the 90-day or even 180-day average buy box price. And I can say, hey, I found this item for $20, and on average it's $53. That looks pretty good. I've got a profit on average, and I'm looking pretty good. You can also see a lot more data, like how many days Amazon's out of stock. You can see the average prices by fulfillment methods. You can see the average number of new offers over the last period. So for example, what I'm noticing here is on average, there's about 19 or 20 sellers on this listing. Right now, there's only 16 sellers though. So this listing is a little bit less competitive than it usually is on average. So there's a lot of kind of insights you can get based on this chart right here. The data offers tab is also extremely useful. I'll typically use a combination of the offers tab combined with the price history and my seller
estimates to figure out how much I really want to buy. So for example, I can go to data, offers, and then I always include historical so I can see anyone who used to sell this product. And we can start filtering by sold, so we can see who's sold the most of this in general, who's selling the most of this over the last 30 days. And in this case, we can see exactly how fast the seller is selling out of their inventory, which is very, very powerful. And you should definitely play around with the Keep Offers tab here. So for example, on the offers tab right here, if you're ever unsure if you can charge a certain price, if people are actually willing to pay that price. So right here, let's say $51.49. You're not sure if customers are actually willing to pay $51.49. So we can go in here and see September 23rd is when he changed his price, and September 23rd right there, he had about 250 in stock. And now, about a week later, he's got about 185 in stock, right? And they haven't changed the price. They haven't done anything different besides lower their price. Initially, they were at like $80, and now they just wanted to lower it back down. And then they started making really rapid sales. So you can see and justify right away what price people are actually willing to pay for this product and what price people are not willing to pay for this product. And it gets super, super powerful. You can zoom out to even the all-time view, 365 days. So if you're ever unsure, maybe the product used to sell, it hasn't sold a long time, you're not sure what people would be willing to pay for the product, the data offers tab is going to be super useful for you. The next tab I want to show you is the buy box statistics right here. Again, buy box is just this button right here, and it's basically charting over the last 30 days, 90 days, 365 days even, who is winning the buy box the most, right? So on a listing like this over the last 90 days, Park Slope Outlet right here, they are winning the buy box the most, followed by this seller right here. And they've got 12% of the sales. And what's really interesting is this seller right here has 45,000 ratings. They've been selling on Amazon for forever. They're a multi-million dollar business. And this seller right here with 8 feedback, probably just like you and I, they started their business last month, 2 months ago. They're making 12% of the sales, a huge proportion of the sales compared to a seller that like the Park Slopes right here that should be selling way more in any other type of business. But on Amazon, there's a lot of potential for us to compete with big, massive businesses just because of the buy box statistics right here. So what I like to see here is that the buy box is rotating between a lot of different sellers here. We can also see if the buy box was FBA or if it was FBM. So for example, on these pants over here, I bet we're going to see more sellers who are doing FBM. So you can see 10% of the sales were FBM right there. Another 5% of the sales were FBM. Another 4% of the sales were FBM. And as you zoom out more and more, you can start to see, am I going to make sales on this item as a merchant fulfilled seller, or am I have to send it into FBA? Because the buy box does prioritize FBA sellers, but it's not always going to be the case. If the FBA is selling really fast, that the warehouses are backed up, they can actually switch. And especially during Christmas, which is coming up, there's going to be a ton of opportunity in those products to ship directly to customers. You get your money back twice as fast, and you just need to validate that using Keepa to validate that people are actually buying this product via merchant fulfillment. So another thing that's super useful with the Keepa offers tab here is if you ever want to figure out who the real Amazon sellers are, who is first to the party, if you want to reverse source some very strong sellers, so you're looking through what they're selling to figure out what you can sell on your store, hopefully understand what reverse sourcing is. It's probably the best way to find your first products if you have not already looked into that though, so I'll kind of put you on that. But the reason why I bring that up is because we can filter this listing, for example, down to who was the very first seller on this listing. And so in this case, we can see that the first seller, whoever was on this listing, was 81 months ago. There's not a lot to go off of on this example here, but on newer listings, so if we go to data offers on like these pants, for example, I bet we're going to be able to go to first seen, and then we can see that it's not really that long. So 21 months ago, 4 months ago. And what's interesting is this seller has been on this listing for probably almost 24 months, which is insane. If we zoom out, we can see, yeah, they've been in stock a ton on this listing. And so using that, you can start to figure out who is first to the party, especially if there's a big like BOLO type listing. So be on the lookout, like a super hot item. Everyone's talking about it. If you want to figure out who's going to be first to the next big item, go to Keepa offers, filter by first seen. And then you're going to find the people who are kind of early to the party. Reverse sourcing them is going to be a lot more fruitful than just picking a random storefront. So hopefully that's useful. Just a nice little nugget for those of you guys, especially if you're a veteran Amazon seller, that should make you a good amount of money there. And then the last couple things I want to show you on the actual Keepa page here, there's a bunch more game I want to show you guys though. So be sure to stick around, keep watching. But the settings, there's a couple things I want to point out for you guys. The most important of which being down here, this is not typically the default, but make sure that you toggle this to show price history graphs as overlays to yes. And basically what that's going to do is anytime you hover over the hyperlinked text of any item, it's going to show you this like this quick initial Keepa chart. Like it's going to show you this graph right there, just without having to click through anything like that. And that's going to save a bunch of time as you're doing your product research. And then I'd also recommend to play around with the appearances up here, tweak it to whatever you see fit. I like to do 3 months. Some people like close-up view, all that kind of stuff. So just play around with that a little bit, see if there's a view of Keepa that makes the most sense for you. But I wasn't even aware of some of these settings. So I just encourage you, open up every page of Keepa, just in general, play around with as much of this stuff as you can. And you're going to find some stuff that might be useful, even just specifically for you. I'm trying to show you guys as much of the essentials within Keepa, but there's even more that you can do on Kiva, on SellerAmp, on all these other essential Amazon softwares that you might not even know about, right? So go ahead and play around with that. With that in mind, I want to start showing you guys some things to be on the lookout for, right? So I went ahead and pulled up this example listing here, these Vicks vaporizers. And so at the beginning of this video, I was saying that a lot of beginner Amazon sellers fail because they don't understand the basics, right? And so this is one of the things that I would consider the basics. As you're looking through these products, I want to show you some traps that I found, and then one example profitable product, and we'll break it down why it's profitable, why it's not too bad of a product to buy. So this one is a classic example. If you've ever bought a product and the price went down and the price tanked, and it's, man, I didn't make any money. I made 5% ROI. I lost $1 on my products. It's probably because you weren't aware of the competition, right? So in this example, we found this product profitably pretty recently at its current price. But with the current trajectory of this product, if you're thinking simple economics, right? So we can see down here on the bottom, and this is our new seller graph. So we can see here in September 9th, about a month and a half ago, we had about 2 sellers on this listing. And now, like I said, 6 weeks later, not even 6 weeks later, we have about 50 sellers on the listing, 46 sellers. So something's got to give, right? And we can see that the price is already dropping pretty quickly, but the more and more sellers hop on this listing, the more and more the price is going to go down. And so if you ever see a keep a pattern like this, where even if you can buy it today for $12 or so, you're making 46% ROI, whatever it is, if you see the rapid increase in sellers like this, especially if the price has not yet reacted. So this one's a little bit on the safer side, right? Because the price is already going down, but especially when you guys are sourcing, you're going to see products where the price is completely stable. The bottom chart looks like this. And so then you can't come complaining when your product doesn't do super well, when you weren't paying attention to the supply to see the amount of new sellers on this listing. So another thing that can be useful on these graphs right here is to see what happened the last time there were this many sellers on this listing. So I can go to the year. Looks like there's never been that many sellers. Let me go to all time. And so this looks like the last time we had this many sellers on the listing, and it wasn't even close to the amount of sellers we have right now. And it was about $16 Amazon was on the listing, right? So based on that, this price belongs somewhere in the $16 to $20 price range. We're probably not gonna be able to sell it at the same price Amazon does. But since this price change is literally historic, there's never been this level of sellers on this listing, we have to assume that the price is going to keep dropping, and it's going to be a product that you want to avoid. So first, super common red flag, avoid products where the seller count is rapidly increasing, especially if the price has not yet reacted. The next thing I want to show you guys is a question I get a lot of the times, and I just wanted to answer it, give you a concrete answer on this, right? So I want to go ahead and take away some of this data here, just make it super simple for you. So you can see the green sales rank right there. We can also see the purple buy box line up top. And again, that's showing the overtime who has that button that says add to cart. And so what you'll notice about this listing right now is that it does have a buy box at $65. But if we zoom out, we can see that recently the buy box has been going in and out. And so if an item does not have a buy box, it does still sell. You can still sell items that consistently have no buy box, but super common red flag I want you guys to be on the lookout for. Less common than the last one, but you are going to see this, is if you see an item where it consistently had a buy box, was looking super profitable, looked pretty good, the price was staying relatively stable, buy box was there all the time, and then bang, the buy box went away overnight. We can see immediately the effects of this listing losing the buy box was that the price dropped by almost $20 overnight. Stays at that $65, $68 range, and it's still phasing in and out. And so when I'm buying products that don't have a buy box, I'm only going to buy it if it consistently has no buy box and I can see consistent sales with the product not having a buy box. In this case, since the buy box has very recently started going away, the prices started dropping as soon as the buy box went away. This is going to be a product that would typically skip. So if you see the buy box phasing in and out, especially if it's recently gone away, the price is usually going to drop. That's a super common red flag to avoid for you guys. Another common red flag, and this one's super important for the health of your Amazon business, is avoiding IP complaints. I know that's a big concern for a lot of new Amazon sellers, is which brands can I sell? Which brands are going to be in trouble for me in my Amazon store? So let me show you what to look out for kind of on these keep it charts down here. So again, I pulled up an example product right here. This is, $21. It's selling super fast, that over 1,000 times a month. But one thing you'll notice when I look at this listing is what happened here, right? We went from 17 sellers to overnight, we have now suddenly 1 seller on the listing. And another pattern that you want to be on the lookout for if you're avoiding IP complaints is it doesn't necessarily have to be every seller got kicked off the listing, but if you ever see a steep cliff in the number of new sellers, so let's say it went from 16 and then it dropped all the way down to 1, that's probably another sign of an IP complaint. And what I want to show you the difference here is just because the seller count decreased rapidly doesn't necessarily mean it's an IP complaint, right? So we can see lots of cases here where the seller count decreased super quickly, but it's not an IP complaint because we can see each individual seller kind of selling out. We can see that the sales rank was dipping lower and lower. lower. So it just makes sense that these sellers were just selling out of this product at this time. The difference here is if you saw this go from 12 and then boom, all the way down to 1 right there, and it just keeps going straight at one seller, that's an IP complaint. And so whenever you see those patterns, I want you guys to be on the lookout for whenever the brand or the listing just kicks off a whole bunch of people at once, it's going to be a problematic situation for your business. So that's a couple red flag products I wanted to look at there with you guys. And I want to just quickly show you an example of a better winning product, right? So I found this listing over here, publiclands.com, legit website, all that kind of stuff. Just a super simple Stanley Cup, right? So if you got family, you've probably seen these before. They were super, super popular last year. Going into Christmas again this year, I'd imagine they're going to be popular. Maybe not quite as popular, maybe super popular though. And we can already tell that they are popular based on the keeper charts of these listings, right? So people started selling this product again in preparation of Christmas, I would imagine, about a month ago. And then the sales rank immediately just started dipping down. It's already selling over 150 times a month. And what makes this even more interesting is when I zoom out to the all-time view, we can see that last March, February, assume when this color dropped, it wasn't even Christmas. We didn't even see any kind of Christmas sales rush. This product has consistently been in the range of anywhere from $60 all the way up to $89, 80 bucks right there. Up there, somebody made a sale at $110 on this product. So we're buying these for $35. A lot of times on websites like these, by the way, you can just plug in your email, you can get 10% off. That may or may not apply to Stanley, the super popular brands, but it's always worth applying, seeing if you can go ahead and get that coupon code. So in this case, maybe we can even get another 10% off, but even without the code, if we're paying $35 for these, we can currently sell them for $72. I would imagine since this listing is so new, there's only been a couple sellers on it. There's going to be a little bit of increased competition on this, but with that seasonality, with Christmas coming around, we got to think about products that people are going to be gifting. This is definitely going to be up there on the list. And so this product price should be pretty safe here at $70. Now, even your worst case scenario, let's say the product goes down to 65 or even $60, you're still making $10 profit. And that's if the product price drops $12 below where we are right now. And so based on the history of this item, it's pretty much always been profitable except for this one little bump right there, right where it dropped. That would be $57. You're still making money, right? So based on the history of this item, based on the fact that Keepa shows me that people were really, really interested in this, we got the holidays coming up and it's just a brand that people know and love. This would be a pretty safe bet, especially as a Christmas product for you to come in here, buy some products, and then you could either ship it to Amazon FBA. If you want to ship it directly to the customer, that's even better. On listings like this, if you think that you might be early to the party, but if you think there's a lot of competition on the way, merchant fulfill it. You're going to be faster. You're going to be able to ship it right to the customer. You're super confident in it. You want to be able to scale a little bit better. You want to not focus on shipping things out. Send it off to Amazon. Let them do all the handiwork during Q4 once all the customers are coming in during the Christmas sales rush and buying things at massively inflated prices.
So now that you understand how to use the first fundamental product research tool, we're going to go ahead and break down the second fundamental tool that you need to sell on Amazon. But after this second module where we cover how to use SellerAmp, you're going to have all the fundamentals and we get to jump into the really fun stuff on doing product research.
So I've gone ahead and pulled up an example product on Amazon just to show you how this tool works, and we'll get into all the fun stuff. So this is SellerAmp over here. It is a Chrome extension, web app, and mobile app. We'll go ahead and break down all that stuff for you guys. It's going to embed on pretty much every page that you're looking at on Amazon, and it can also embed on pretty much any other website that has product names and stuff. So for example, we can click the SellerAmp extension, and then it's going to also show up on the target page. In this case, it's going to search for the title in this case and try to find that product for you. On the Amazon side of things, you can use it to calculate profits, find products, and all that good stuff. But first, I know the question you're probably wondering is how much does it cost? It's going to run you about $17 a month if you go annual, or $23 a month once you're getting serious. Anyone who's on this plan is definitely making money on Amazon. And then if you want to go monthly, it's a little bit more, but still very reasonable. Still what I would call one of those fundamental tools that you can use for your Amazon business. If I was a true beginner, I would just be using Keepa and SellerAmp to start sourcing products. So that's what you're going to be looking at to get started using SellerAmp. So let's just go ahead and start breaking it down. Let's look at the Chrome extension first. I'll go through pretty much every feature that you can use with the SellerAmp Chrome extension, all that good stuff. So right up here at the top, this is going to give you a lot of the essential information that you need about each product. As you mouse over it, it's going to show you the whole title name, all that good stuff. So you can see a pack of 2 in this case, see how much it weighs. You can see the ASIN, the UPC. These are copyable, by the way, so I'll use this pretty often if I need to move data around or anything. All of these little icons right here also have extra data for you. So right here, you can see the dimensions of the product. This is useful if I'm ever trying to figure out how much is this item going to cost me to ship, or how many of these am I going to be able to fit into a box, all that good stuff. This one right here shows you the listing description. This button can take you to the Amazon page. So if you're on a different spot, this is going to Google the title for you on Google, which I think is interesting. Can help you determine where it might be profitable to source it from. And then this right here is going to open it up in the SaaS web app. We'll look at this here in a little bit, but this is a very similar data laid out back on our web app. Right here is the quick info panel. You're going to want to have this enabled. The eligible box right here, this is going to show you if you're allowed to sell the product, or if you're not. All you have to do is be logged into your seller account on a different tab. If it says you're not eligible, don't let that stop you, by the way. It's super easy to get ungated these days. If you were looking for a specific ungate, if that's something that's holding you back from Amazon, don't let it. We've got a ton of answers for you in the free Discord that's linked down below in the description. The alerts panel right here is going to show you a couple different things. It's going to try to find out if it might be a private label product, if you might run into IP concerns. When you are logged into your seller account, it's also going to tell you if this item is dangerous goods or hazmat, so you can be aware and make sure that you're not going to run into any issues while you're shipping your products in. This right here is the BSR, or best sellers rank. If you're brand new to Amazon, basically the way BSR works is 1 is the fastest selling product in that category. In this case, it looks like we're looking at the 143,000th best selling product in the beauty category on Amazon, but this is still selling 72 times a month, right? So 143,000 products are selling faster than this one, and this one's still selling almost 100 times a month. Really shows you the kind of potential that's available on Amazon for you. The max cost right here, this is going to break down the most that you'd want to pay for this item based on your back-end settings. We'll get into that in just a second here, but I really like this. This helps me get a rough idea of what I need to source this item for to actually be profitable. Cost price, sale price is all going to be configurable. So let's say, hey, I'm sourcing this for $8. Am I profitable? Probably not. I'm sourcing this for $4. Am I profitable? Absolutely, in that case. So just go ahead and set that back there. Sale price is all configurable. So if you're looking down here, you go down to the Keepa graph and you're seeing different prices over time. You want to see where your profit might sit. Hey, what happens if the price goes all the way back to $12? What happens? You're still making a little bit of money. Price goes back up to 15, goes a little higher where it was in the past. You're making a whole lot more money, right? So you can go ahead and play around with that. Make sure you're actually profitable on a lot of these items. Down here on the ranks and prices panel, this is one that I use pretty often. For example, right here, so we're looking at a buy cost of $5.50 in this case. Something I like to do is go in and press my 90-day or 30-day average. So in this case, over the last 30 days, the average price, how much am I making? So in this case, it goes a little bit below my profit standards, below that $3 price point. At 90-day, it looks good though. 180-day also looks good. So to me, this looks like a pretty stable product where we just, it went down a little bit in the short term, but overall it seems pretty stable. That's something I like to check, that average buy box price, so that I know over time if I'm going to be more or less likely to actually make a profit on this item. You can see the lowest recent FBA price, lowest FBM, all that good stuff. This is something that I think is really cool about SellerAmp. It's going to count the number of net buy box changes. So anytime you see the price on Amazon change, this add to cart button, this is the buy box, and this is counting how many times that price has changed in a positive or negative direction. So in this case, over the last 30 days, there's been 32 increases of the buy box price and only 2 decreases of the buy box price. So this is something that can be really interesting. If you look at this at a glance and get its negative 50 buy box price changes, it's probably going to be an item that's very competitive. In this case, we have way more price increases than decreases. So it seems like a less competitive item, something we might be a lot more likely to actually come in here and make sales on. The alerts panel down here on SellerAmp, again, is going to show you similar information to these top 2 we were seeing up there. Just shows you a little bit in more detail. So telling me in this case that it's not meltable. There's no variations for me to worry about. Nothing super crazy going on here. And if you're logged in, it's going to show you if you're ungated to sell the product already, or if it's a hazmat or dangerous goods product. Super useful stuff there. The charts feature. This is similar data that you can see in Keepa over here, but if you want to just see it all in one place, sometimes I'll end up using the charts feature, especially on the web app when I'm doing some repricing, that kind of stuff. So you can see the charts over time, similar data that we can see on Keepa over there. So it's nice that it's all built in here. If you do want to change the date ranges, you can drag it around, all that good stuff. Just mouse over and get a good feel for how is this item done over time. Has there been any IP complaints where there's lots of sellers getting kicked off? Has there been an increasing competition lately? This is super important data that you need to see here on the charts. So in this case, like when I see this item, I see that green sales rank line kind of increasing a little bit, and I see the number of sellers slowly increasing a little bit. So when I see this item, it sticks out to me as something that might start selling a little bit slower. And when we see that it's a peppermint lip balm limited edition, we're going into spring, makes a lot of sense that this item's going to start selling slower. So that data is lining up for us. Down here, this is the profit calculator panel within SellerAmp. This is where you're going to be able to see exact fee breakdowns. Probably some of the most questions I get is, how am I actually going to make money after shipping? How are people actually making money on these products? So getting a good idea of your costs is going to be super important. So you can go in here, plug in your cost price, sale price. You can flip that between FBM or FBA. If you want to ship directly to the customer, that's going to be FBM. If you want to ship to Amazon, have Amazon do all the customer service for you, that's going to be FBA. So a lot of times sellers are going to be more inclined to leave this on FBA just because Amazon's doing a lot of the work for you. If the item did qualify for small and light, you can also toggle that here. So that's something that I take advantage of a good amount in my business. So for example, on this item, we can see it's currently selling for $13.75. The small and light program on Amazon gives you lower fees basically for any item that's less than $12 or less than 3 pounds, at least at the time of recording this video. So for example, if we go in here and plug in $12, not small and light, we're going to make $1.37. If it is small and light, however, we're going to make $1.93, and then our ROI threshold is met. So you can see how it can make a big difference, especially if we were buying, let's say this item is $4. We're not small and light. That's pretty good ROI. The profit's not great. We throw on small and light and now we're cooking. We got $3.50 profit. We got an 85% ROI. So it's a no-brainer. Take advantage of that small night stuff. You can definitely see all that here within SellerAmp. This maximum cost right here is going to be based on whatever you want to set in your settings. We'll run through all the suggested settings and that kind of stuff here in a second. Usually I'm looking for a 35% ROI or a $3 minimum profit per item. The total fees is also super useful, especially for you newer sellers, to see where all your individual money is going. So your referral fee in this case, that's basically what Amazon's going to take on every item just for being Amazon, finding a customer for you, all that good stuff. The fulfillment by FBA, this is going to be what you're paying for pick and pack fees. Basically all those little fees that Amazon is incurring to ship those items out to the customer for you, that's going to be passed along to you through the FBA fee there. If you do want to go ahead and add in any prep fees or inbound shipping fees, all that good stuff, you're absolutely welcome to. The inbound shipping, for me, I at least default it to 30 cents per pound. And that's about what I end up paying to ship to Amazon. So it's going to go ahead and based on the dimensions of this item, you can see it's very light sticks of lip balm. So it's only going to cost me, in this case, about a penny, right? If we throw a box full of 50 pounds worth of this, you could fit a whole lot of these in a box and it wouldn't really cost that much if you're shipping that through Amazon FBA. And then if you want to throw any miscellaneous fees or anything like that on here, you are more than welcome to do. In this case, I usually have a 10-cent miscellaneous fee for any poly bags or anything like that I might need on some of my items here. So to show you this next panel down here on SellerAmp, which is the variations panel, I went ahead and pulled up a different item that had variations. This is just a standalone product. So if you want to do stuff like selling shoes, this is going to be awesome for you. If you want to get into clothing, that good stuff. The variations panel of SellerAmp is going to show you a review breakdown per different size, per different color. We got the pie chart here so you can see that the white black seems to be the fastest selling color. The fastest selling size seems like it's the size 10 based on these reviews, right? Rough correlation that the more reviews there is for something, the more it must have sold. So you can figure out what might be the faster selling sizes, what might be the faster selling colors using the variations checker here. And this is also configurable in that you can add ASIN, you can remove things from this. You can also go ahead and add different levels. So if you want to sort by different things, so in this case, if you want to sort by ASIN and then color and go from there, you're more than welcome to. So you can see right away here, it'd be a weird way to filter it in this case, but totally up to you, however you want to use the filters there. So then another thing you can do is also sort these different variations here. So for example, if you wanted to filter by reviews descending, so it would be the most popular different sizes, you would absolutely want to do that, see the faster sellers, and then filter by the next thing if there's a tie, right? So definitely take advantage of that if you're wanting to figure out what's actually selling between different variations. The Google Sheets tab is something that I take advantage of a ton in my business. So on this item, let's say we were sourcing this item for a $5.50 price point, currently selling for $14 or whatever we had it priced out there. If we want to go ahead and store this data, it's extremely important to store all of your data in your company. We don't want to let any leads slip through the cracks, anything like that. I have a SellerAmp for my team where this is just a bunch of their names. So they can just go in here, click their name. And then when they do that, so I'm going to do it for, let's say your name's Mike in this case, it's going to send to your custom Google Sheet over here. You can see it just loaded in there pretty quick. And we can custom configure anything we want on the back end of SellerAmp here. In this case, I've got this sheet set up for us to just add export date, product name, ASIN, all that good stuff. You store how much I'm actually making. You could put a coupons column. So let's say we're buying this from Burt's Bees site, you had a coupon, you could take a note of that. All that stuff's gonna be super important in the long run as you're scaling to make sure that you're storing your data super well. And that just kind of speeds up the process. Another thing I like to use this for is, this is actually a great example because it's a peppermint winter themed product, is maybe you want to look at this product again come August or September, whenever you start thinking about sourcing Christmas items, you just go ahead and click Christmas, and then it would send to that Christmas sheet, however you want to configure that for you to take a look at it. Come late fall, all that good stuff, you can look at it, see which of those items might be worth pulling the trigger on. So as through the year, if you come across an awesome looking Christmas product, probably don't want to buy it in the middle of July, but you might want to buy it towards October when the season's about to change, Christmas is about to start selling very quick. It can be a lot of fun that way for you to do less work just because of the work you've done in the past, adding those leads to an existing Google Sheet. The notes and tags section down here on SellerAmp is also pretty cool. You can just go ahead and add a star if you want to favorite the item. So for example, back here in the history, this is on the back end of the SellerAmp web account. When you're logged into the SellerAmp website, you can go up to the top corner here where it says history. Go ahead and load that. And then let's say over time you start favoriting a lot of the leads that are actually good for your business, something you want to come back to. All you have to do is click that and then search, and it's going to pull up everything you've ever starred. On top of that, if you wanted to go in here, and in this example, I just added a Christmas tag, very similar to what you're using Google Sheets for here, really up to whatever you want to do with it. You can just go ahead in here and type Christmas and then search. And then that's going to go ahead and pull up anything in your history that either has Christmas in the title or was tagged Christmas. So for example, you can see Christmas stocking stuffer, Christmas. It doesn't say Christmas in the title here, but we added that custom tag so that if we ever want to come back to it, you can go ahead and do that. So for example, in these notes and tags section, maybe you want to tag where you bought it from. And then if you went ahead and punched in Walgreens, all you'd have to do is just save that, search Walgreens in your history, and then you get a big list of everything you've ever sourced from Walgreens. So pretty cool. Another way to keep your data organized there. The discounts tab isn't something I use super often, but if you ever have like a discount you're using a lot, so in this case, we had that $5.50 price point up here. If you want to discount that by 25%, you can go ahead and do that. It's going to automatically take that discount. What I would say I end up doing more often though, is just going up here into kind of the cost price, and I'll just do $5.50. You can actually do math within the panel here. So you can just do $5.50 times 0.75. Right away, we can see that would be what we'd be paying if we had a 25% coupon, just because it was that 1 minus the 25% coupon, going back to middle school math there a little bit. The Arbitrage Hero reverse search panel down here is part of one of our integrations with Arbitrage Hero. If you have an Arbitrage Hero subscription, a lot of times it's going to find this title for you and try to find a source for you automatically. It's a pretty cool feature. In this case, I'm not logged into my Arbitrage Hero there. I would say I end up using that more on the storefront stocking side in the web app, which again, we'll talk about here in just a second. The offers tab of SellerAmp is one of the things that I would say I use the most. It's going to show you who your competition is. You can filter out FBM offers. So in this example, like this guy, he's shipping directly to customers. He's going to get a little less buy box than people who are doing FBA. Amazon just favors people who are doing that prime shipping, all that good stuff. So most of the time I'll have this filtered to just prime only, see what else is going on. Unless you want to make sure there's no like super cheap FBM guys out from underneath you. You can also toggle this by live and recent data. We added this change not too long ago to make sure that there's always relevant data for you to look at. So if the live data isn't loading for whatever reason, super easy to switch that to recent, and it's going to show you updated hourly, very fresh data, and not a lot's going to change within the hour. You can scan that data. And then within the offers panel over here, you're also able to click on each one of these guys. So for example, this seller right here, let's say you want to click on them, and this is going to show you everything that they're selling in their storefront. So you can see their seller name, ID, rating, all that good stuff. And you can also filter this down to each individual brand they're selling, each individual category they're selling. So if you're a new seller in this example and you want to sell a bunch of clothing, but you're only ungated in, Nike, you could go ahead and click Nike there, and then you would only see all of their Nike products. So you can really focus down on whatever you want to be looking at through these individual storefronts here. This is going to be super useful when you're trying to find profitable items. We'll look at this in a second when we break down the web app, but let's just go ahead and finish talking about the side over here. The lookup details over here on the panel seemed somewhat less useful to me at first glance, but especially as you build a team or just source a bunch of items over time, this is going to show you the last times you've ever looked at this item and what cost you punched in up here to the cost price box. So this is actually really useful for me when I have a virtual assistant team on my main SellerAmp account. I can go in and see the last times we've looked at this item, and sometimes I'll see, over the last year, we've looked at it 6 times. Here's how the prices have changed. And that helps me know when I'm getting a really good deal on an item, or if you're looking at an item's particular sale that you look at a lot, you're going to end up looking at the same items over and over again. This is going to help you track those different costs over time. And then if you want, you can actually even save that source URL. So I'm just going to use the Amazon link up here, for example. You'd obviously want to use the website you were sourcing this item from. You can just drop that there, click save. And then anytime you look at it in the future, you're just going to have to click your source and it's going to pull it up if you ever want to restock that item, all that good stuff. The last couple panels down here are just the Seller Central integration. So if you want to add the product to your inventory or see if you've ever had orders for this ASIN, all this kind of stuff is just quick hot links to take you to that information. This is going to be more useful typically if you're already selling that product, especially the orders tab. You can open up the product on Amazon, click that button and see how recently you've been selling this. And then the search again button would just be if you want to search something else. So in this case, Lego, you could search for Lego products and look at the same thing while you're still on an Amazon page. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but it's there for you if you want the kind of flexibility to do so. So then let's go ahead and talk about the settings in the backend. A nice segue as well, because all these panels are going to be configurable from the backend settings of your SellerAmp account. To get there, you're just going to click up here, go settings. That's going to take you straight there. You can see we're running through most of the SaaS panels over here, but there were a couple that we didn't even look at. So if you're a European seller, you might want to think about VAT settings or European marketplaces, all that good stuff. I'm personally not qualified to talk about European marketplaces and that kind of stuff. So you're more than welcome to play around with that stuff if you are a European. SellerAmp was actually originally designed for the UK market. So that's another question we get a lot is, does this work in Europe? Does this work in XYZ marketplace? It's going to work in most marketplaces for you, especially if you're in Europe, you shouldn't have any issues. And then since then, we've just found much stronger foothold in the Amazon.com community. So if you're in the USA, we are more than prepared to take care of your business there. So some of the settings you're also going to want to take care of in the back end here would be setting up your buying criteria. So on these items we were looking at where it was saying our max cost, in this case, our max cost would be that $5.57 for it to meet our profit goals. That's all configurable. So, hey, if you have a little bit lower standards, you want to hire employees to touch the products for you, maybe you're okay with a $2 profit per item. Usually this is what I would suggest beginners doing is $3 profit per item and 35% ROI. So every time you spend $1, you're gonna make at least 35 cents in profits, basically how that works. You can also go ahead and filter this down by maximum and minimum BSR. So in this case, like I personally wouldn't probably sell any item that's above the top 2% in that category. Usually I'm gonna stay in like the 100K and below rank, but even in this example, like we're seeing an above 100K product that's selling decently. It seemed like it was a pretty decent price point for us as arbitrage sellers too, since it's just two simple little sticks of chapstick going for 14 bucks. So you can definitely take advantage of that. It's going to just flag this as red if it ever doesn't meet your standards. So in this example, if you're buying this for $8, that's below your standards. So you can quickly see that you need to find an extra coupon or extra discounted gift card, that kind of thing that might help your profit margins actually be somewhere you're happy with. And the additional cost, we're looking at this a little bit with the cost calculator down there, but you can go ahead and include anything. So if you have a prep center where you're shipping items to the prep center, they're shipping to FBA for you. Usually that's going to run you like $1 or $2 a unit. You can go ahead and include that. And that way you're not going to be forgetting about that, actually making profit after it's all said and done. That miscellaneous fee, I think we talked about that a little bit, but I like to put like a dime or so on that, just so I'm not ignoring the cost of my boxes and poly bags, all that good stuff. And then inbound shipping, I would definitely recommend throwing on here. Put it about 30 cents a pound. If you are not able to fill your boxes up to 50 pounds where it gets a little bit cheaper, maybe put that at 40 or 50 cents a pound. Really just whatever you've been paying on your most recent shipments, go ahead and throw that in there so that you're not going to forget about paying those extra fees there. There's a couple other things you can go ahead and configure down here. So if you've got set FBM costs, all that good stuff, get a little bit more into the weeds. So figure if you're playing around with these settings, you probably already know how to sell on Amazon a little bit. You can also play around with these settings down here. So we do have a mobile app. We'll talk about that here in a second. But if you ever want to store that location as you're scanning, you can remember where you found certain products at different stores, turn on dark mode, all that good stuff. The quick info, we added these not too long ago. We're able to toggle different things. So for me in my business, I'm usually looking at ROI data, but some people swear by profit margin. So if you want to look at profit margin, you can toggle that. It's going to show it there. And we can even just toggle all that data on there for a second so I can show you what it'll look like. So if we save and then head back over to this product, it's going to quickly update for us. So now after we added those simple data points there, we can see the profit, or we can see the profit margin and our break even price. So given this cost, what do I have to sell it for to make 0 cents or not lose money? And then you can also add that configurable offers summary down there if you just want at a glance to be able to see what your competition might look like. Those can be good things to play around with as well. And then over here on the SaaS panels, again, these are all configurable. You can move these up and around however you want, turn each one off, turn it on. And then before you ever change anything, just make sure you click the save button down there in the bottom right corner so you can go ahead and push through. And as we're looking at, it goes ahead and updates that information for you pretty quick so you can see exactly all that new stuff you added to your account. So I teased it a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it now. Let's go ahead and break down the web app of SellerAmp. I'll just go ahead and start from the way that I usually end up at the web app, which is reverse sourcing products. This is honestly how I would recommend finding your first products if you don't have any yet. Just going to a storefront on this arbitrageable listing right here. Burt's Bees branded, expensive, limited edition type thing. They probably just bought it from a retail store. And then based on information, we can go and click on their storefront. In this case, the top co is their seller. We could see what other brands they're selling and then potentially figure out where they might be getting it from. So as we're going through, we can see category name, brand name, all that good stuff. But the way I like to use this is by looking at that max cost option. We just configured all that, looking at the offers and then figuring out if I'd be able to buy this item for that max cost option. And am I interested in competing with this many sellers? So in this case, there's 82 sellers on this listing, probably not super interested in competing with 82 sellers. So I might even just be able to continue on here, right? This is much faster than trying to do reverse sourcing without SellerAmp because you don't get the keep a chart, you don't get all this data, and you're not going to see what the item's actually selling for. You're going to see the storefront price. So in this case, like this storefront's trying to sell these items for more than they're actually selling for. So maybe not the best seller in this case, but we can still see if they might have some good ideas for products. So this one, maybe I'm not sure, right? It's less than an ounce. Maybe we can buy this Kiehl's product for 17 bucks. In that case, I would just click the Google button here and see what we might be able to figure out here at a glance. We could even just do the Google Shopping tab. And then over here on the Google Shopping tab, it looks like we got it for 24 at Mercari. Really, we'd probably be looking for a legit supplier, not a third-party marketplace. I'm seeing it for sale from some third-party guys on Walmart. So this might be like out of stock, limited item type thing, but we're able to quickly take care of that, search for the product on Google. And if you also ever want to shortcut to the Google Shopping, like we're doing there, you can just go ahead and click that right away. It's going to pull up all that information for you. So going through this process and looking at these items, asking yourself, can I buy this item for $2.89? And then looking it up if you think you can. That's probably one of the better ways to get started. Just looking through storefronts, seeing what people are already having success selling and trying to find the item profitable enough for you to actually go in and hop on and make money with them. The other side of the SellerAmp web app is going to be based on really just any product if you want to pull it up. This search bar, you can plug in seller IDs, you can plug in ASINs. So if you want to look up just this specific product, you could just grab that and paste it. And that's going to pull up all that information you're you're able to see on the Chrome panel pretty easy. So sometimes I'll do this, like I said, if I'm repricing. So I'll have my repricer on one screen. I'll have all the ASINs, punch the ASIN into SellerAmp so I can quickly all at once see my cost price, see the Keepa chart, and just all in one place help me make a repricing decision. That's one use case that I have for the web app. But beyond that, it's going to be very similar information to what you're able to see on the Chrome extension. So usually I end up using the Chrome extension a good amount more than the web app. And then as you're sourcing on these different websites, you can also use SellerAmp. We talked about it very briefly at the beginning of the video, but you can also use SellerAmp to help speed up your sourcing. So I'm just going to go ahead and find like a potential product that we might want to look up on Amazon. So let's skip that one. Let's look at that. There was like a Neutrogena product there. Neutrogena tends to do pretty well on Amazon. So you can click the SellerAmp extension up there. That's going to automatically pull whatever title is there. You can also copy over any text, and you can just copy that, right click it, and then SAS search. That's going to SAS search the different information there. That's also available on wholesale spreadsheets. So if you have a spreadsheet, you want to look up prices of items, or if you're able to, depending on the site, sometimes it's a little trickier, sometimes it's pretty easy. If you're able to like mouse over the title of things. So in this case, I'm just mousing over Ollie. I can right click that, SAS search, and then that's going to search for that title. So a lot of times that can save you the effort of clicking through to a listing. If all you need to do is right click it and then SAS search, it's going to automatically search for that item for you. So in this example of the Neutrogena makeup remover wipes over here, you'd be able to quickly at a glance see that, oh, Amazon's on this listing, on this one, and you can quickly scroll through here and see if this might be a product that you could actually hop on, or if it's something that is too competitive. So I'm seeing a lot of these listings that are super high bestsellers rank, but Amazon is on them. Amazon does not share sales with third-party sellers usually, so you typically want to avoid it. But then you get down to a listing like this where you might be able to get 5 of these. We'd be looking at, about $3 buy cost each with some other specialty things with it. So Target's not your source for this, but a lot of times this can help send you down kind of rabbit holes, figure out what might be a little bit more interesting for you to find from other websites, especially if you're like really close to profitable on one website. So let's say we needed to find this item for $5, we're buying it for $6 over here. That can send you on some rabbit trails where all you have to do is just grab the title, paste it into Google, and see where you might be able to find it a little bit cheaper just based on the information that you're able to quickly see over here on the quick lookup time. So the last aspect of SellerAmp I want to go ahead and talk about is going to be the mobile app. So this is a very similar to the Chrome extension, all that kind of stuff. And all you're going to need to do to get the app working is just simply downloading the app from the App Store or Android Store and then logging in with your existing SellerAmp account. So make sure you've already signed up before you download the app and all that good stuff. So then sometimes when I'm going out to the stores, or especially if you're a low capital Amazon seller, going to the clearance aisles, that kind of stuff is going to be a great way to stretch your capital, just going in, buying something for $1 that you can't buy online for that cheap, going into the clearance aisle. So I'll pull out the SellerAmp app here, and all you have to do is just shake it. It's going to go ahead and pull up the scanning feature. Just scan it just like that. It's going to read the barcode. And then once it does read the barcode, it's going to pull up all the information. So right over here, you should be able to see, in this case, we're looking at a 60 BSR for the Pokemon tin we just had there. We can see it sells over 11,000 times a month, split between some variations. So we'd want to look at the variations chart down there. Let's say we found it on the clearance aisle for $10. In this case, we would be able to quickly plug that in, see that we're going to make $3.50. Go ahead and pick that up and then sell that on Amazon. And then another thing that I like about using the SellerAmp mobile app in store especially is that in this case, let's say you just found this $10 item profitably, you can then go ahead and use the Google Sheets feature. So just scroll down there and then add it into one of those Google Sheets, just like we were just doing. Click your name, store all that information so that when you get home, you're not going to have to remember what did I buy everything for. It's all going to be stored on that Google Sheet for you. It's all going to be one pretty straightforward process to actually go ahead and get that inventory shipped out.
So now that you understand all of the fundamental software that you need to sell on Amazon, we can jump into the real meat and potatoes, and I'll show you the best and easiest method to find your first winning products as an Amazon seller. This method is really cool as a beginner because it allows us to look at products that we know are already highly successful on Amazon, and then we can use some product research hacks using SellerAmp and Keepa to find those items as cheap as possible and use the work that other people have already done to find your next profitable winning product. So let's go ahead and jump into the step-by-step on reverse sourcing.
So like I said, we're going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty here on 3 different ways to source products for your business. So the first one here, I've gone ahead and pulled up Amazon, and we really just want to get a starting point, right? And this is going to be probably one of my favorite methods, especially if you are a beginner Amazon seller, because we're looking for products like this one, right? So we're looking for a product like this soccer ball, right? We can buy it for $18 over here on this website, and then we can sell it on Amazon for about $44. And that's going to make us about $11 profit every single time we do that. And so our goal is to find more items just like that one, right? Name brand, the brand brand's not on it. There's nothing super crazy going on with the listing. And it's also, pretty stable, right? So if we check out the charts function on SellerAmp there, we can see that the price over time is super, super flat. So it's pretty consistent, pretty reasonable to expect that over time. So we want to find way more products just like this one, right? So to do that, you want to go ahead and just pull up Amazon, and doing reverse sourcing is one of the best ways to find products. And based on this item right here, if you guys at home have no profitable items in mind that you want to start as a starting point, all you need is one good item. You can start with this exact product here. I've done a ton of other videos on my channel showing profitable products, so you can start from one of those as well. But once you do that, you're just going to go ahead and start clicking on the sellers on this listing. So I want to go ahead and check out this guy here. He's an FBA seller, so he's doing what we want to do, where we ship it directly to Amazon's warehouse. They take care of the rest of the work for us, shipping out to the customer, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and see. They got about 100 feedback. So it's not a massive seller, but they're not small either. When we do that using SellerAmp, we can get a very detailed view of everything that's going on with their storefront, right? So we can see the brands they're selling. So a lot of Herbalife, which is interesting. A lot of times you might want to stay away from some of the MLM brands, that kind of stuff. But it seems like they're having some success with it. Looks like they've also got some Nike products. And then they've got this other Bergama Turkish cotton brand. I've never heard of that. So the main thing we're trying to learn with this method is what brands can I sell as an Amazon seller? What products within those brands are good? And, a lot of times it's going to open your eyes. So I've never heard of this brand before. Been doing this for 5 years, sold millions of dollars on Amazon. And now I might have learned a new brand that I might want to look into, right? So as we're scrolling down this list here, I'm looking for products that I think I can buy for this max cost option. So in this case, this Herbalife stuff, I would imagine they're buying this. This is kind of like an MLM, kind of a common scam kind of business here. So I would imagine that they're probably buying these from a distributor. They are joined the MLM so they could sell it on Amazon or whatever it is. But let's go ahead and skip past those and see if we can find something a little more legit. So we've got these soccer balls. So very similar to that first product. If we can find that for about the same price as the other one, we'd be in the money. So something I like to do is hit the Google button, and then it'll go ahead and search that product for me. So it just grabs the title, right? So I might even just add soccer ball just to be extra safe with it. And then maybe even blue and white, and we can see if this product is for sale anywhere for $18. So seems like doing a quick check here. I see a lot of them listed at $32. Amazon was at 45. Nike has them for 23, 32. Yeah, so probably a little bit too expensive, but having all this here all in one place saves you a ton of effort, and we can really start digging deeper and finding something that's actually going to be good. So right now it's back to school season, so backpacks could be good. Why don't we go ahead and check this one out a little bit? So this elemental backpack, I might even just make it a little bit simpler. So elemental backpack. Let's try that. See if we get anything. So we've got the Air logo on the back. So that could be it right there. I need to buy it for $32 to be profitable on this listing. And right there, it's for $35. So that's interesting. And really, I'm looking for that Nike Air logo, right? So kids, elemental. I think the title even had a Y. I would assume that's for youth. So this could be a profitable product here. So let's dig a little bit deeper. I've never heard of this store before either. So we might want to do a little bit of research on that if this does end up being legit, but I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. So we can see again, the sales rank is massively dipping here because we are in back to school season. So as that green line gets closer and closer to the bottom, it's getting closer to the fastest selling item in clothing and shoes. Makes sense. Everybody's going back to school right now. So backpacks are pretty popular. So if we can sell this item for $65, seems like plenty of people are having success on it for $65 up there. A lot of those sales are 60, something like that. But on an item like this, it's selling super, super fast with back to school season. I bet we could sell it for 65, no problem. And so on this, if we paid $35, we'd be making 25% ROI. So we're pretty close to a profitable item here. Another thing we can do is check for coupon codes. So we can see this Chic 10 or whatever it is. So I went ahead and tested that out real quick. Seems like the code's not working for whatever reason. But a lot of times with these products, if you see an item that is at least super close to profitable somewhere, always do the extra digging for a coupon code or anything you can do to get extra margin in your business, right? So I want to go ahead and try searching for this again. Let's see if we can just find something. So I like the Google Shopping tab as well. We can get a really good idea of everywhere that we might be able to buy this product from. The other side of this equation might be that, all the other resellers bought out this backpack and the prices are going up because of that. That's another thing you do have to think about sometimes. So yeah, I'm not seeing it too much there. So let's go ahead and keep on going down the list here. So more Herbalife stuff. I'm honestly really curious about this Turkish cotton brand of some kind. So it says they have 7 products. So they must just have a bunch of variations of this. I wonder if this is so this must be their private label. So the other side of selling on Amazon, right, is creating your own product. You have to make the listings and run ads to it. And, they wrote all this. And as arbitrage sellers, we don't have to do any of that. We can just piggyback off of existing listings that people already want to buy. If you want to go and create a private label eventually, I think it's a great idea. But if you guys are a beginner on Amazon, do not start with private label. I've heard a lot of horror stories when you never know if your product is going to be a good idea, if it's going to be marketed well, and it just makes sense. As you grow as a business owner, you're going to make less mistakes. big, so you might as well make it in a cheaper business like doing arbitrage. So I want to go ahead and check out a different storefront. They were selling like a lot of like Herbalife and like some Nike stuff. So yeah, that kind of stuff can be good, but just not seeing anything super promising there. So let's see what else we can find. So we got this mesh backpack. We need to find it for 28 bucks. That's like a pinkish backpack kind of thing. So 35 bucks there. Need it for 28. So we'll go to shopping. And again, we're really just looking to see if there's anyone selling this that might potentially offer a coupon on it. So I'm not seeing much going on there. I also want to just add a link to that. See if we can make it a little bit more niche down. So there's 35. Champs has it for 37. I think you're kind of crazy if you're using this backpack for your daily use. It's like mesh, it's like see-through. Could be like school policy or something like that, I guess. But yeah, let me know if you would use a mesh backpack like that. So $37. So yeah, if we can find a coupon code, maybe get $20 off 120 is interesting. So $20 off of 120. We can see if that would make us profitable. So we can open the Amazon listing. $20 off of 120 works out to be about 17% off, somewhere around there. So we'll just call it 16. So we're paying 37 and then we're getting 16% off. So I'm going to do times 0.84. We're going to end up paying about $31 for that product. Over here, it looks like, wow, there's a lot of new sellers hopping on this as well. Yeah. And the sales rank is dipping. In my opinion, I bet this price will go back up. Right now, it seems like the price has maybe dropped a little bit. It wouldn't be unreasonable to make some sales on this item at 65 bucks where it jumps up there because the new seller count has also started to level out a little bit. So with back to school, with tons of demand on this product, I wouldn't be shocked to see this come back to profitability. And this would be a pretty decent lead. Let's see if it goes back to 60 bucks. You're still making $12 a unit. So this might be something I would take a gamble on. It's not the biggest home run because we are hoping that the price goes back up, but we're just now starting back to school season. The prices should be kind of skyrocketing up before too long here. So I would probably buy a little bit of that product myself just because it's a super high volume product and we're starting to see the new sellers kind of level out a little bit. So I think I might pull the trigger on that. I'd probably buy anywhere from, 10 to 20 of those backpacks just to get a really safe bet on there. If you want to be kind of gamble on it, you could buy probably hundreds and they would sell. It's just whether or not the price comes back up for you. So let me see if we can find another quick winning product here. And then we'll go ahead and talk about the next product sourcing method. So here we got like this training ball. Again, I don't know much about these soccer balls here, so we might as well punch it in there. So seems like the same ball there at Hibbett for 20 bucks. Just confirm. Yeah, the picture looks all the same. So now we want to check and see if there's a coupon, like if there's like a 25% code or anything like that. So nothing says 25 up there. It could be a 25% code. Buy online and pick up today. Okay, so that's at least an option, right? So if we went ahead and pay and pick up in store, yeah, you'd be able to do that. So yeah, on this item, like if you were able to pay and pick up in store here, I think it's out of stock for me for pickup at least. It was in stock here for shipping to home, but that would be a decent item, I think. Just kind of eyeballing it. If we need it for 15 bucks, we would be paying 15 bucks for it. You can go pick it up, but that's another like closer item. See if we can find one more winner. So there's that soccer ball that we came from. That's definitely a winning product. Let's see these shorts here. The NSW flow shorts. Let's see, woven flow shorts. Because a lot of times there's also going to be some sales on these items. So let's see, sportswear, woven flow. That stands for Nike Sportswear is NSW. So I think it's the same product here. Woven flow. We can also check like the pockets and stuff. I like to check the back pocket. So there's like the back pocket on shorts is kind of unique too. So we should have a good idea if that's the same product or not. Based on looking at the pockets, I would say it seems to be the same product. Could be a little bit different. Woven flow shorts. Yeah, I really think this is the same here. So the XL over here are 25 bucks with a 20% code. We need to buy them for like 19, so we can do 25. There's a 20% off code, so times 0.80. And let's see, so we're looking at $6 profit almost, 28% ROI. So in clothing, I like to be a little bit pickier with my actual sizing here. The other thing you can do to maybe find a size that would be profitable as I go to variations down here on Keepa. This is a $20 a month tool. SellerAmp is our product research tool. This is also $20 a month. So both these are super affordable for you guys. So let's go ahead and filter by like highest price. And then based on this, I like to figure out like what's the least that I would want to sell these items for to be really profitable. So for me, that's like 42 bucks probably to make that 37% ROI. So anything less than $42, I don't need to worry about checking at all. So I just want to see what other colors we have. So we got those are sold out. Okay, so it seems like we might just have the black and white here, which is fine. Usually it's the fastest sellers. So I'm also going to show you another trick here. If you just type black into color, a lot of times it'll filter out like the best color. Let's see. So I guess for whatever reason, they call it white on this listing. You'll notice a lot of weird stuff with Amazon listings with them calling like, the wrong products, the wrong color, all that good stuff. So let's see. So we got the large there. And really, I'm just looking at the pictures down here so I can confirm that it could be the same item. There's another large potentially. That's interesting. Let's see. So, and then I think we're above 42 or we're below $42 after that. which is our cutoff point to actually be profitable. So let's see these flex shorts. The tie in the front is also the same, which makes me feel a little bit more comfortable calling these the same items. So these are the size large, I believe. Yeah, large right there. Selling for $47. We're buying them for 25 with a 20% coupon. So there you go. That's a $12 profit, 62% ROI. And I bet this is also a faster seller on the listing. So if we grab the ASIN, I'd like to paste it down into variations. So it's only got a couple ratings boost there. So it's not one of the faster selling products on this listing, but it might still be worth picking up, especially with that kind of ROI. And we also had another one that's black, white, large. So this is, I guess this is probably the same one we were just looking at that we started from. So yeah, that's 28% ROI. The buy box does jump up though. You see how it kind of hops up to like $43, $42. We can also see like what's the average buy box over the last kind of 30 days here. Average will be a 33% ROI. Average over the last 90 days is up 75% ROI. So I might also buy this product, to be honest, as well. I guess I wouldn't trust the average too much because this was way less sellers, but I don't hate this product. Last time, another exercise I like to do is see what the price was last time there was this many sellers. So we're even on a decrease in sellers. So last time there was this many sellers, the price was $40. And then the same thing happened last time, the price was $40. So to me, $40 is pretty consistent as a product here. So if we end up selling this for $40 as our worst case scenario, we're still making $6 profit. So that's not too bad at all. So I might honestly pick up some of these as well. And I would assume that these are selling a lot faster. So if we grab that ASIN, go to variations here, paste it right there. And yeah, so it's a little bit slower recent or on the long term, but I see a couple recent gains here. So it's probably gaining popularity on this listing. So I would honestly pick up based on the low review count, but increasing decently fast. I'd probably test out another like 10 to 20, maybe 30 pairs of this just to see how it goes. So you guys can kind of get a little bit of insight onto how much I would buy there.
Now that you understand how to do reverse sourcing on Amazon, I want to show you a different way to do product research because this one might click a little bit better for you. Reverse sourcing is the best way to start when you're a new beginner because you get to see the best brands and the best types of products that other sellers are selling. But as you become more and more experienced, you're going to understand what good products look like. And especially whenever you find a really good sale that we can get really cheap inventory, you can look directly on those sales. So in this module, I'm going to show you the most efficient way to manually source products whenever you find them on sale anywhere on the internet.
First step is to go to Google, and then we want to try to find any website selling name brand items that's having a pretty decent sale. And so anytime we have a mini holiday roll around, or anytime a company wants an excuse just to get some more product out of the door, we're going to be able to look through products like this, where we can see right now on Adidas, it looks like there is a up to 65% off sale. And I also noticed that there is a coupon that we can stack on top of this sale. And so what this is going to allow us to do is buy very cheap items that are Adidas branded. So obviously a popular brand, a brand that people are already very familiar with, and buy a ton of on Amazon. And we're going to be able to look at these exact products and sell them on Amazon. So within a short time span here, we're going to go ahead and just start opening up some of these listings and we'll see how much money we can make. So the first thing I want to start doing is opening up the types of products that seem maybe a little bit more common. So for example, this ugly looking like greenish brown shoe, that's typically not the types of products that sell really well on Amazon. Same goes with this shoe right here. People tend to buy the basic generic type products, right? So let's go ahead and check out this backpack. Let's check out some of these slides here. We can look at these. Let's go ahead and really just look for anything that's on sale. And we're going to be able to stack this code, that big sale right there. That's going to be another 30% off on these items. So let's go ahead and open up these. I see some different colors and stuff in there. And really, I'm just looking for anything that has a sale going on top of this discount code we can apply. Let's go ahead and start with these. So the first thing you need to do whenever you're trying to find a profitable item, you've gone to the sale, you've hopefully found somewhere that has some coupons going on, that kind of thing. And then we want to start using our first paid tool. For full disclosure, this is my product research tool. But what it's going to allow us to do here is we can go ahead and click the SellerAmp Chrome extension right here. What that's going to do is it's going to pull the title from this listing automatically for us. So you can see it grab the Prime backpack, all that kind of thing. And then all just at a glance here, we're going to be able to see that this is currently $49. We can also get a coupon code on top of that. So as you can see right there, we are getting that 30% off, just so you know, I'm not trying to pull any funny business here. So this backpack's going to cost us anywhere around $35 or so, I believe is what it said. And over here on SellerAmp, we can see that we're going to have to buy this backpack for $22 to be profitable. Just because there's other colors, let's go ahead and check it out and see if maybe those other colors are more expensive. Yeah, we've got lots of colors on these backpacks here. It seems like we got the white and the gray. So we could also see if either of those are on this listing. So it seems like right here, we've got those white ones. Those are $45 and we're buying them for $34. So if we plug that into our profit calculator here, we can see we're going to lose $6. I'm not really in the business of losing $6. I hope you're not in that business either. And then this other one was gray and then royal. So it seems like it's probably this one right here. Again, $49. So we can move on right after that, right? So the process that that you really want to get down is understanding when to move past an item. Really just the entire game of finding products to sell on Amazon is being able to move past the bad ones as fast as possible, right? So let's go ahead and open up some of these here. Looks like we got lots of different colors, sizes, all that good stuff. So I want to show you a quick trick here that we're definitely going to want to take advantage of. And what this is going to allow us to do is go to variations. So this is showing me all the different colors, all the different sizes of these slides right here. And we can filter by the highest new price. So if they're super cheap and we're paying, I think we're paying like 20 to 30 bucks, plus we can get some coupon on a lot of these. We don't really need to look at the ones that are $10 on Amazon, right? We only need to look at the ones that are a little bit more expensive. And looking at these colors here, we just have a couple to choose from, right? So it seems like we might have that kind of pattern there. I did see those right there. So I want to go ahead and check those out. Let's go ahead and see. We've got a lot of the different like stripe colors. We've got that little pattern. I'm really just trying to understand like what we actually have on our listing there so we can see if any of those are high enough, right? So these are like 51 bucks. Do we have the all blacks right there? So we do. Let's see, 51 bucks on those. These are the size 13 men's. We're going for 51 right now. We can buy them for 32 on this sale right here, and it's letting us use that coupon code. So these are probably going to be profitable. So let's see how much money we've made right away here. So we got that 30% off. So I did times 0.7. Again, I'll just do that. So 32 times 0.7, it's 30% off basically. So we're going to be making $14 profit per pair on these. So that's not too bad at all. So on something like this listing where it's just like the kind of the plain black size, that kind of thing, we want to figure out how much of this individual shoe actually sells so we can calculate how much profit we're making off this. So this estimated sales is 5,000 per month, but that's split between all these colors, all these sizes. So what we want to do is go ahead and press check on the variations down here on SellerAmp. And what this is showing us here is the most popular colors and the most popular sizes, right? So the most popular color right there is the black. So the full black version, which is what we have right here. This is what we were looking at. So that is the most popular color. That's a great sign. And then we want to see how popular is the size 13. It makes sense. Size 13 is a pretty decent size shoe. So it's probably not going to be the most popular. And down here on the pie chart, I think I see right there. So size 14 women, size 13 men. So that's what we're looking at right here. Those are, let's see, let's just double check, make sure we've got the right one. Yeah, so perfect. Size 13 men, size 14 women's. And that is what we're looking at right there. So it's not like the most popular size by any means, but it does have 6% of the ratings. So this shows me that this size, this color will sell. Just to be conservative for kind of estimating our profit here today, let's say that we'll probably be able to sell 10 of these in the next 30 days. I would not be shocked at all if we could sell 15 to 20, but let's go ahead and start the tally right there with $142 in profit from selling 10 pairs of those. And so let's go ahead and keep rolling on here. So we've got those slides that were profitable. Let's see if we can find any more slides while we're on this listing. So here are more of those checkered pattern looking ones. It's got just like a bunch of little Adidas logos on it. The other thing I'm noticing is there's only 2 left in stock and all the other sizes are out of stock. So let's just go ahead and skip that. Maybe we could sell those too, but if we're trying to maximize how much money we can make here in a little bit, so let's go ahead and keep on seeing what we can find a little bit easier here. These we're starting to get into the gray and white, that kind of thing. So we got them right there. Let's see. Okay, so that size is sold out. That's totally fine. One thing that is really useful that you'll want to do when you're looking through these sales is to sign up on here. So you want to make sure like your email address is on the list, that kind of thing. So anytime you see a profitable item, it's out of stock, you can get an email and then your email inbox starts turning into basically a profitable flow of leads that's coming to you. Here we've got those kind of bigger icon ones we were looking at. Let's see, do we still have those in stock? We only have really big sizes in stock. So let's keep scrolling on here. So those are profitable as well. This could be something you'd want to set on that little alert for as well. Looks like we've got some white and black ones right there. Let's see. So that's the ones we're looking at. They're 21 bucks. A lot of them are out of stock. Let's just go ahead and keep moving on. There's probably more to be uncovered here just for the sake of variety. Let's check out some of these other listings here. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go ahead and hop onto this listing, open the SellerAmp extension right there. And then we want to see basically how fast are these selling. So the Cloud Foam Pure sneakers, let's go ahead and open up all the different possible listings as well. You see there's different listings where you can buy the Cloud Foams on, and I think there's 3. Those are the Cloud Foam 2s. So those are a little bit different probably. And yeah, so we just want to go ahead and go into variations. Let's go ahead and find the most expensive ones, because on these listings, if our most expensive variation isn't going to be profitable, there's no reason to look through all this other stuff and do all this legwork, right? So something like this seems like a lot of these like 60 bucks. So if these are 60 bucks, we get 30% off again with that coupon. And our most expensive variation on this listing is $60. Yeah, I don't really want to make 42 cents selling a pair of shoes. So right here, this is a great example of how moving past items as fast as possible is going to make you the most money, right? So we can immediately skip this entire listing just based on the fact that the most expensive variation was not really within our standards. So we can also check these. So again, 60 bucks on this listing is among our most expensive. And then these Cloud Foams right here, let's go ahead and see. So $75, again, not probably going to be worth looking at too much there. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. So the Racer TRs right here. Let's go ahead and check these out. I'll go ahead and open SellerAmp. And it looks like here is the women's version. Let's see, we're going to do the exact same thing, right? We need to figure out what's the most expensive variation on this listing and am I interested in selling it? Let's see, we've got some different colors here. And these are a little bit weirder colors as well. So let's see, those pink ones, maybe probably the only ones that are selling decently. Let's see what those are called. So it could be those right there, these pink shadow, that kind of thing. Is that what we're looking at? Yeah, pink shadow. Yeah, pink and then shadow red. That's probably the exact same product. So what we want to do now is let's just look at those ones that are the colors we want. So we're going to into the variations chart. We're going to go black and then I think it was pink. Yeah. So there we go. We got all of the different variations of this shoe that we might want to sell. So a lot of these are like 80 bucks right now. These we're buying for, what was it, 40 bucks, but there's no promo codes. And the other thing I can see is the price like recently shot up out of nowhere. So we probably want to skip those. We only want to buy items that are like consistently profitable. You don't want to buy stuff that was only profitable right now. And the reason for that is if this price goes back down to 54 bucks in this case, like right now, 80 bucks, buying it for 40, that's great. But if it goes back to $55, we're losing money and it's just really not worth the risk in that case. If you're trying to find first items, maybe it could be worth it, but I don't really think so in this case. For the sake of variety in this challenge here, we'll go ahead and look at a different website as well, just get some variety. But the other way I want to emphasize, and this is what I would say is going to be the most effective for some of you new Amazon sellers, if it's looking really overwhelming to just open a website, start clicking around, like opening up random products. If you are a brand new Amazon seller, you can get a little bit lost doing this. So what I would suggest if that's you and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed is open up one of these items here. You can see this one we found profitably is a great place to start from. And when you're on one of these profitable listings, go ahead and open up the offer of a different storefront. So here this guy's got 91 feedback. They're an FBA seller. So they're probably doing the exact same thing as us. And once you're in this storefront, now that you know that there's a really good sale on Adidas, you can filter their storefront down to just their Adidas products. And then you can start comparing those products. They're selling them profitably. They source them from somewhere. There's a really good Adidas sale going on right now. So there's a good shot that they probably bought those from the actual Adidas website. So you can just start popping open some of these listings, hit the Google button there, and it'll try to find that listing for you at Adidas basically. So here's taking us back to some of those slides we were looking at before, and you can compare, and it's a little bit of a cheat code almost, right? Because you're looking items that other people are already selling profitably. So it can be a good different like rabbit hole to jump down as well. With today being one of those days where we get some really good sales going on, I also want to check out another brand that a lot of Amazon sellers want to sell. So we can go ahead and see if we can find some profitable stuff here, which is Nike, right? And this is also going to let me touch on something that is a major key for your Amazon business, right? Most people don't end up making money on Amazon when they refuse to use all the discounts and different forms of competitive advantage to the max, right? So for example, we can see we got 8% cash back from Rakuten. It's a really good idea just to get plugged in with some different free cashback extensions. Rakuten is one. Top Cashback, Be Frugal. These are all free Chrome extensions, different services that you can use to come in here. And if we find a profitable Nike item, we can get an extra 8% cash back on that product, right? So help boost your margin a little bit, give you a little bit of bonus money. Let's go ahead and start hopping in through here, right? So again, we're going to do the exact same thing, except different brand, right? So it's really all about building those sourcing muscles and just building that recognition of what a good item looks like. Let's go ahead and check those out. I'm just going to open up some of these listings here that could be decent. Some Flyknit here. We got some sales on sweatshirts, that kind of thing. We could check those out. And all this is 25% off. And I'm going to add extra priority to opening up any of these listings that are already on sale, at least a little bit. So just going to open up a few of these listings here for us to check out. And yeah, so not seeing too many more sales. We can check that one out. And yeah, let's just go and start digging in. We're going to do the exact same thing. So again, we can also get that 8% cash back. Plus we're getting 25% off. On top of this, you can be a member at Nike for free. So I'm not too worried about that. And then let's go ahead and start opening up some of these listings here. All these Blazer mid 70s. We'll go ahead and check these out, see if there's anything good here. Over here on SellerAmp, I'm opening up any of these listings that have, I would say 100K bestseller rank or below. That means it's one of the top 100,000 best-selling shoes on Amazon. Anything in that range can be worth your time and sells decently well, which is crazy that there's that many good selling items. But let's go ahead and start digging in here, right? So exact same process. We got lots of different colors to choose from and all that good stuff. We need to figure out the actual highest price of any of these variations, which in this case, it looks like we got lots of kind of high priced variations. So we really could be in the money here. So let's see. Got a lot of these like light blue. We can see if any of those light blue. So I see like a darker blue. Could be worth checking out. We got a photon. I don't think we had those. Still not seeing those. So here we could have those like orangey check mark thing. Let's see if it's the exact same. So what are they calling this? White coconut milk. I think it's called something else, but we could see if it looks the same. It does not. So there's a little bit on that back. It's like creamish on the back. That one is not. Let's keep digging on through here. Let's see. So here's these blue ones. I noticed we actually do have these blue ones, so that could be worth checking out. And these are expensive too. So the size 12.5 right there, those are $180, and they actually get ratings too. So it's a good way to verify if something actually sells on Amazon. If it's getting ratings, people are buying it, they're leaving reviews for it. So those are like 180. It's pretty consistent too. You can see that price chart right there is showing us that it pretty much always sells for 180. And let's go ahead and see. So these blue ones are, so dang, looks like we do have the 12.5s are out of stock. There's more right here. So the 7.5s are 160, 7.5 also out of stock. That's fine. I do think we're on the right trail though. So the size 8s, I think we have the 8s though. There's the 8s right there. Let's see. So size 8 on these guys right there. Price is decently consistent. So it seems like it has sold for 133. So we just want to make sure we're profitable at 133, but we definitely are. These are 78. We get a 25% off coupon. So worst case, we're selling these for 133. Best case, we're selling them for 160. So let's just call it like an average of $145. We're going to sell those for, and we can make some pretty decent sales. So see, good chunk of little ratings. There's also some recent increases right there. So you can see it went from 283 ratings to 285. So it shows me that there's actively people buying that shoe for the price that we want to charge there. Perfect. So we can make about $56 on every sale there. And this isn't the fastest selling item in the world just because it only has a couple recent ratings increases there. But I would say we can pretty safely sell 15 or so of these. Couple recent ratings increases. It's on a really fast selling listing. So 15 of those right there, let's call it conservatively a $500 in profit. So that's a really good item, honestly. A little like slower selling, decent gem to look out for. But let's see if there's any more kind of goodies hiding on this listing for us. I see some kind of just black and white right there. So that size 8.5s are 133. Did we have those black and whites? Is it those? It could be those. Let's see. It's got that like grayish front. I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that as well. So like that grayish front right there. Over on that Nike listing, yeah, it seems like we got that. Just see price and bag, which is interesting too. Let's make sure that we got the right size. So size 8.5 US. That's what we're looking for. 8.5 right there. Bang. Sweet. So we'll add that to bag. Let's see what these are priced at. And then we can also kind of leverage that coupon code on top of that. Okay, cool. So adding these to cart here, these are $79, just rounding that price up. So if we're paying 79 times 0.75, again, we get that coupon code, and we're going to sell these 8.5s right there for 133. Those look good. $45 profit. Couple recent ratings as well, or this seems like 1 or 2, right? So it went from 279 to 281. So it's definitely actively selling. So let's say another 10 units of those. So that's another, let's just account, even if the price drops a little bit, let's say it's another $400 in profit on those shoes right there. Looks like these are those blue ones again. So let's check those out. Let's see if those are good. Size 9. Yeah, bang, right there. Perfect. So this is a pretty good little treasure trove here. This is actually a good example too. So these used to sell for $99. So we want to just factor in that risk a little bit. So these are going to be 27% ROI if they go back down to that price that these size 9s were at. Right now though, they're at 130, and that's obviously really good. So if our worst case scenario is we still make $16, that's a gamble you want to take, right? So some of these products we're looking at where their price is way higher than normal, not really worth taking a gamble. Something like this, if our worst case scenario, we still make $15, I'm all over that. So again, let's lower our profit expectations on this a little bit. Let's say we'll sell it at an average of $115, just so we're not over exaggerating profit or anything here. Let's make sure it's got some recent ratings. Looks like a couple there. Yeah, perfect. So let's go ahead and grab another 5 or 10 pairs of those. Add another $50 profit just to be extra conservative. Say we sell 8 of them, that kind of thing, to our running tally there. And so yeah, but there's a lot of kind of gems hiding on this listing here, right? So let's see maybe if any of these other colors might be good as well. We could really dig through a lot of these colors and we could find a ton of stuff there. Just for sake of variety, we can look at a little bit different things as well. So these are the pine green. A size 6 is in stock. We can use, actually, I don't know if that coupon's not applying on these green ones here. So always be on the lookout for that. These are a little bit different. So these are the pine green. Always important to be looking out for these little things, right? So these are $90, but it doesn't say we can use that coupon code. This one does. So we'd want to avoid that. Here's more of these blues. Did we want to sell these for 112? Yeah, we'd sell them for 112. There's a recent rating increase as well. So let's go ahead and do another 5 of those. Add another $150 to our running total here. And then, yeah, so there's lots more we could dig up there. Let's check out some of these other listings here and see if we can find just a little bit of variety here as well. So that was a great little find. Our running tally is looking pretty good here. So let's keep moving on. So this fleece, we can see a lot of different colors. Some of them are on sale, some of them aren't. Let's see. So like these like basic gray ones could be good. Let's check these out. How much are these in bag? So adding those to bag here, these are 45 bucks, but I also tested that coupon code up here, and these, it doesn't apply. So it's just 25% off. So that's good to know. So let's go ahead and pop open one of these listings here and see if any of these are like really expensive or something like that. So we got this right there, little crew necks right there. Sweet. So 5K sales rank, which is really good. Seems like the highest price on this listing might be 55 bucks. So there wouldn't be too much profit left there for buying them for 45-ish. Let's see though. So these are like 65. We're already down to 65 bucks. We're buying them for 45. Good rule of thumb is you want to spend half what you're going to end up selling the item for. Not really super close there. Let's keep moving on here. So these free run 18s, pop this open. It actually could be this. Those look very similar. It's that Flynet version. 106 is what it's pulling up as our most expensive variation. And we're buying them for 85 bucks. Plus we can add a 25% coupon. We're buying them for 63. If any of these are selling for what, like probably 115, 120-ish or so, if we're following that, doubling our cost price. So yeah, if we sell for 115, we are making money. Let's see if any of those are that expensive though. Let's see. So we got the kind of color. I don't think we have that black right there. It says like it's red a little bit. I think what we do have on this listing, they're calling it white black. So let's go ahead and we'll just filter this color down. Let's go white/black. And sweet. So these could be some good ones actually. So 120 and 119. So if we have the 12.5 or the 15, no 12.5, but we do have the 15s. That is a big shoe, but you probably got to buy that kind of thing online. So 120 right there. Yeah, so these seem like something I'd pull the trigger on, right? So pretty consistent price. Worst case, we sell them for 98 bucks. What's 98 bucks looking like? We still make 11 bucks after we factor returns and all that kind of stuff. We probably end up making $5, a couple bucks. If it really goes down, we sell all of them at $98. Right now they're at 119 though. And at 119, we make 30 bucks. But based on the fact that I'm not seeing too many recent increases, like it was just chilling at 0 ratings. There's some kind of Keepa glitch recently as well. I'm hoping by the time you guys are watching it's resolved with variations. But I'm also seeing that there's no recent rating count increases. So I'd probably be a little bit safer on buying too many of these size 15s. I'd probably say buy probably 5 pairs, just test it out. It is a decently fast selling listing. It's a popular type of shoe, that kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and add 5 more pairs at $17 profit each. So that's going to about another 80 bucks to our running profit total here.
So in these last 2 modules, we've done an awesome deep dive on how to source products to sell on Amazon. But a massive concern I hear from a lot of new Amazon sellers is that they can't get approved to sell these big name brand products on Amazon. And when I first started selling on Amazon, I thought the ungating process was nearly impossible. So in this next module, I'm going to give you all of the sauce that you need to get approved to sell big name brand products like Nike, Lego, Neutrogena, so you can sell whatever you want on Amazon. So let's just go ahead and jump into the step-by-step process here. The obvious step is to make sure that you do have an Amazon seller account. And when you try to list an item, it gives you this screen where it's asking you to provide invoices or even a letter authorizing you to sell this brand. Getting an invoice is by far the easiest way to do that. So what you want to do is go over to a wholesaler like Frontier Co-op. I'll also show you how you can get some auto ungates and different suppliers, but Frontier Co-op Wholesale is the supplier that personally got me ungated in my very first brands. For example, Burt's Bees. If you want to sell Burt's Bees products, or if you want to sell makeup products, Burt's Bees is going to be under the health and household category, and it's also going to be Burt's Bees branded. So if you're a brand new Amazon seller, you're probably going to be gated in both of those things. So what you need to do is go to a wholesaler like Frontier Co-op. I found this example of an item. We can buy it for $1.82. And what Amazon is going to require is that we end up buying 10 units of this product. Because when we go check out this product on Amazon, I can see that there's several different listings for this item. So we would go ahead and pull up any of the listings that have that product on it. Go ahead and grab the ASIN from SellerAmp, or just grab the ASIN from the URL up there. And then when you're on Seller Central, you're going to go click the sandwich menu in the top left. You're going to click Catalog, Add Products, and that'll take you to this screen right here, where you would then paste that ASIN that you just grabbed from the Amazon page. Go ahead and click Search. Go ahead and select a condition. In this case, we want to sell new Burt's Bees products. And for me, I'm already ungated, so it's asking me to sell this product. But since you're probably gated, it's going to say Apply to Sell. So on this tab, you're going to select that you have a purchase invoice. You're going to select all these checkboxes here. And then when you're shopping at a wholesaler, Frontier Co-op, you're going to want to make sure that your invoice is formatted to have a couple specific things on it. This invoice will have some blurring on it. Obviously, it's my personal information, but the biggest thing that you need to make sure is on your invoice is number 1, the order date. Number 2, you need to have your shipping information or billing information, and that information needs to match what it says on your Amazon seller account, from the business name to the address, zip code, all that good stuff. And then that invoice also needs to list on the order details, or somewhere on the invoice, it needs to list what products you actually bought. It's even better if the invoice can include some UPCs or anything like that, but a product title will suffice. suffice. And the same is true for shopping and getting an invoice through a website. For example, this is a website called Shop WSS. This invoice I used to be able to get ungated in some shoe brands. And let's say you wanted to get ungated to sell Adidas products. What you'd want to do is probably find the cheapest products on Adidas's website. It doesn't matter what you buy as long as you buy 10 units. So I like to go to like sale and then go ahead and filter down to the lowest price. So in this case, you could buy 10 units of this pair of socks. It would cost you $80 and that would get you approved to sell all future Adidas profitable items that you find out in the wild. Once you have that invoice from either a supplier like Frontier Co-op or an online website, go ahead and save the email that you receive as a PDF. You do not have to wait until you get a physical invoice in the box or in the package. Submit the documentation that you have as soon as possible so that you can get the sales rolling in very quickly. So on this email, for example, you could click the dots, click print. Within the email, go ahead and press save, and then save the invoice's name under this format. Use the brand's name underscore invoice underscore the date you're going to submit it, and then save that as a PDF. Go ahead and head back over to the screen where you're going to submit that invoice. Click select files right here, and then upload that invoice. After you're done with that, go ahead and input your email address down here and then click submit. But not all products are going to require an invoice. When you go to apply to sell, there's a chance that you might get a screen that looks like this, where it's not asking you for an invoice. So what you'd want to do is press you're a reseller or distributor, you're responsible for all your products, all of the above, and then you're just agreeing that you're not going to sell counterfeit products. Again, go ahead and input your email address there, go ahead and press submit, and then you can see in this case, we automatically got approved to sell this brand. And you'd honestly be shocked how many brands are like this where you can get automatically approved to sell them. So I made you a list of over 1,800 brands, including the ASINs that you can try and go get ungated in those brands. And you'll be very surprised which major brands you can probably get auto ungated using that process that I just showed you. If you want this list of over 1,800 ASINs and brands you can get ungated in, I'll leave the link down below. It's going to be inside of the Amazon Launchpad. Over here on our application where we had to submit documents and wait for Amazon to email us back, eventually you'll go ahead and get an email that looks like this. You can see this is when I got approved to sell Converse products on Amazon. You'll get an email that says, congrats, you got approved to sell it. Or you might get an email that says, we need more information. If you get an email like that's denying you to sell that brand, go ahead and retitle that invoice, change the date at the end of the PDF name, the formatting that we were talking about, and then go ahead and resubmit that invoice. And you can also attach any supplemental information that you might have, whether that be tracking numbers, additional invoices, anything you can do to prove to Amazon that you bought legitimate inventory from a legitimate website or supplier. Ungating products to sell on Amazon was a huge secret when I first started selling on Amazon, and it literally took me over a year to understand it. So I'm super glad you can get over that roadblock now. And now that you also know how to source profitable products, let's break down something else that's super important. There's a lot of hidden traps and specific data points that I look for when I'm buying an item to sell on Amazon. So in this next module, I want to give you a complete checklist of everything that should be true about an Amazon product before you pull the trigger. And so this module and the completely free product sourcing checklist that I'll leave down below in PDF form, those are going to break down everything that I look at before I buy an item, and this will help you avoid thousands of dollars in mistakes buying bad products. On a super surface level, the most important things I'm looking for on every item that I sell on Amazon is that I'm going to make at least $3 in profit according to SellerAmp, and I want my ROI to be at least 30%. Basically what that means is every time I spend $10 on products, I'm going to make $3 in profit back that I can then start pulling from my business or reinvest and continue to grow my business. And it's because of compounding all of the return on investment over time that I was able to turn my $1,500 into over $2 million. The other quick things we want to go ahead and break down here are going to be BSR. So this is best sellers rank. The closer this number is to 1, the closer it is to being the number 1 best-selling item in that category. So for example, this is the 53,000th best-selling product in the health and household category, as we can see right up there. And SellerAmp will also estimate our sales. So on this listing right here, it's selling about 159 times per month. Typically, I want this estimated sales number to be at least 30 sales per month. And the higher that number is, the less strict we can be with a lot of the smaller things we're going to break down today. The lower it is, the more profit you want to look for, because as items sell slower, there's more time in between each sale happening on Amazon. And that time creates risk for the product's price to drop or for anything else to go wrong with the product. We need to always remember to price in the risk of having slow selling products. On this example, it sells over 100 times a month, but I have no problem buying an item that has a 35% return on investment, super solid profit per unit right here. And the other thing you really want to break down is making sure that the price is consistent, right? So just because the item is $55 today, and up here you can even see it says it's $53, the The reason why we can pull $55 on this item is because when we are an FBA seller, we can zoom in down here to Keepa. Keepa is going to show us exactly what price this item has been over time. And for us as Amazon FBA sellers, we're going to be shipping these items into Amazon's warehouse, letting them take care of all the shipping, customer service, all that good stuff for us. And what this Keepa chart down here shows us is how consistent the price is over time. And it's also showing me right here that this FBA seller here, they're able to charge $56. This FBA seller again is able to charge about $58. And so there's a lot of proof on this graph right here that we're going to be able to sell this item for at least $55 as an FBA seller. And zooming our time horizon out a little bit here, the other thing we want to look for, and this is where a ton of new Amazon sellers mess up, is making sure that the profit is consistent over time on an item like this. So you can see over the last 3-month history of this item, the price has almost always been super profitable. See, looks like our worst case scenario is this item would be about $50. So let's see what happens. If it's $50, we're still making $6.40 profit. That's why it's really important to stick to an ROI threshold so that if anything goes wrong with your items, maybe it drops a little bit. In this case, we're still making 20% on our money. We're still making $6 profit. And that's our literal worst case scenario on an item like this. You can also go ahead and check the 30-day or even 90-day average prices on the SellerAmp Chrome extension here. So over the last 90 days, we can see that the average price has been $57. So that's even higher than I was estimating for you guys. If that is the case and we can sell a lot of stuff at $57, then we're going to end up making over $12 profit on this product. So this is a major gem for any of you guys who might be struggling to find items that stay profitable long-term, is to make sure that based on the average 30-day and 90-day price at your cost price, make sure that the ROI is at least 30%, or worst case scenario, it's 25% ROI. Because if you go into an item and the price is artificially inflated, there's a really good shot that on a lot of those items where, let's say the average buy box price was $40, if we go back down to the average buy box price, we definitely don't want to be selling an item like this. So it's super important to be sticking to items that are at least somewhat profitable on average over the last 30 and 90 days. So I'm going to show you some of the other nitty-gritty traps that a lot of new Amazon sellers fall for. But again, I want to quickly break down why this item is good. The BSR is under 200,000. That tends to be the highest that I like to look for. The estimated sales is over 30 sales per month. At our current cost price, we're making at least 30% ROI. And when we check out the average buy box prices, our profit is going to stay consistent and we have much less risk of this item not staying profitable in the long run. So that quick process right there will make you more profitable than most Amazon sellers. But I'm going to give you even more value and show you how to dig through some of the traps and figure out how much of these items that we'd actually want to be buying to sell in our store. So for that, I want to take us on to this next example item I've got right here. So we can buy these Converse shoes on sale for $53. We can see that they're selling right now on Amazon for $109, which would leave us with a pretty solid profit. But there's a big problem with this item, and it's one that a lot of new Amazon sellers might miss. So I want to break it down for you so you don't end up wasting a bunch of money buying products that don't sell. All we need to do to figure out if our items are actually going to sell quickly on Amazon is go down to the Data Offers tab of Keepa. I want to go ahead and click Include Historical Offers. And this is a very powerful tab. I wasn't using this for way too long in my Amazon business, but what it's going to show you is every seller who's ever been on this listing. It's going to show you the prices that they were charging and the stock count that they had over time. And so for example, on this item, we can see right now, this seller is at $109. We can also see that earlier this month, they had 16 of these products in stock. And we can also watch their stock count drop over time. And so if you can see the right data points on the Data Offers tab, this is going to guarantee you that your items will sell on Amazon. But this is where I want to break down some really important nuance. When we're looking at the Keepa Offers tab, a lot of people will just look at this graph and say, oh, wow, they had 25 in stock. The next day they had 1. They must have sold 24 units overnight, right? The problem with thinking this way is that this item is an FBM offer. We can see this as the blue line that shows us as FBM. It'll also say, hey, this is a new third-party FBM down here on Keepa. And what that means is this seller can change their stock count over time. They can do whatever they want. And so these don't necessarily even need to be real sales. To figure out if this item is actually selling, I'll go ahead and filter down to Prime Offers right here because it's way harder to trick people on the Offers tab using the Prime data. And when I filter down to Prime data right here, we can see that there's only ever been 2 Prime sellers. The best that we've ever seen is one person maybe made 1 sale. Seems like they maybe made 3 sales back here. And I don't know about you, but I'm not in the business of selling items that have only sold 4 times over the last months. And we can also take this a step further, right? The Offers tab is not the end all be all. Sometimes it might be a little off. And so I like to get a second opinion by checking the Variations tab of Keepa. So to do that, I'm going to grab the ASIN from SellerAmp here. I'm going to go over to ASIN, and then I'm going to paste that ASIN, and that's going to filter down all of the variations. We can see we take that away. We're going to have a ton of different options there. But if we filter back down to just this one single variation, we can see that this this item only has 2 ratings over the entire history of this product. And we can even zoom out there. So like over the last entire year of this product, no one has rated this product, which means that there's a very slim chance that this item is even selling. And so I get this question all the time from beginners. If your item has variations, so this is a great example, pair of shoes, tons of different sizes, tons of different colors. This estimated sales number is actually split between all of the variations on this listing. And so it's really important to check both the data offers tab and the keep a variations tab. And using that information, we're able to determine pretty easily that this item has not seen too many sales recently. And I'd be pretty surprised if you buy this item and it ends up selling. And just as a reminder, if you want to see all of this in writing so that it makes a little bit more sense for you, it's completely free. Go ahead and click that link down below. But now that we know how to tell when an item looks like it's selling, but it's not actually selling, let's look at another super common trap, right? So I want to pull up this example of a product, super weird product. This is proof that people will buy literally anything on Amazon, right? It's some creepy doll toy, but that's fine, right? It doesn't really matter what we're selling on Amazon. All that matters is that the data looks good, right? So we were able to find this product on sale for $10. And let's say we were looking at this item back in March, right? So back in March, this item was selling for $22. If we punch all that in, it's probably going to be decently profitable, right? So 49% ROI, all that good stuff. But you can see a big problem as we increased over time here is as more and more sellers hopped on this listing, the price had no choice but to drop, right? So going back to super simple middle school economics, if the supply on an item is raising, so we can see down here on Keepa, this is the new offer count. This is charting how many new sellers are on this listing. And over the course of a month, it basically went from 20 sellers to 47 sellers, right? So we over doubled the amount of supply that we have. And the sales rank on this item more or less stayed the same. It dropped a little bit, right? So there's a little bit of a reason why the price might stay the same. If the demand is also going up with supply, again, middle school economics, that's going to mean that the new price on the item might be able to stay somewhat stable. But the more that you see the new seller count rising, the more likely it is to tank. And so whenever you're sourcing a product, keep in mind that if you see a rapidly increasing seller count like this, typically the only thing that's going to end up happening to that item is the price drops, right? So I've got another quick example of that for you. We can see this item right here. We can actually buy it at Menards for 30 bucks. We can sell it on Amazon right now for $54. And right now this item is actually profitable, right? So we can sell it for $54. But the problem is that the demand has not changed, right? So this green sales rank line is showing me that over time, the sales rank is not dipping down, right? We would want to see it going closer and closer to 1 if there's more and more sellers hopping on, right? So this last item, the price was saved a little bit, right? We saw that demand shoot closer and closer to 1 as the supply went up right there. There's still a really good shot that this item keeps going down in price, but it's definitely going to keep going down in price on an item like this where the demand has more or less stayed the same. We can basically draw an imaginary line through all of this green sales rank data right here, but the supply on this item is rapidly shooting up, right? So this new offer count has gone from 2 sellers to 14 sellers. So we have 7 times as many sellers on this item over the last 6 weeks or so. So if you ever see patterns on Keepa that look like this, it's a really good indicator that that price might drop over time. And so you really want to be careful buying items that look like this, especially what I was talking about earlier. The more the item sells, the riskier you can get, right? An item that only sells 41 times per month, there's almost an entire day in between each sale, an entire day where one of these 14 sellers can decide, hey, I haven't been selling too many of these. I want to lower my price. And then somebody else is going to say, hey, he lowered his price. I want to follow his price down. Otherwise, everybody's going to get stuck with their inventory. And so on items that sell slow, you need to be even greedier when you're looking into these items. So since it is 7x'd in supply and the price honestly hasn't changed too much, it's dropped by $10 or so here, we're almost guaranteed that the price is going to continue to drop as these sellers get frustrated with the fact that it's not selling very fast and their profits are going to continue to decrease here. So if you saw on this item it's selling 4,000 times a month, it's probably okay, right? If there's 4,000 sales a month, an extra 12 sellers on the listing, there's a lot of sales that are going to be split between those 12 sellers still. And this item is also another good example of something that I check on every single item before we pull the trigger. And that's making sure that the brand themselves has never sold this item. So we can see down here on Keepa, we can see that Lux Thermostats, which is the same as the brand, right? So Lux right there. Lux Thermostats actually sold this item. And the reason why you typically don't want to sell items that the brand themselves are selling is that it's well within a brand's right on Amazon to kick you off a listing if they don't want you to be there. If you created a product and got it listed on Amazon and did all the work talking to suppliers, you'd probably want to hog all those sales on Amazon too, right? And so it's our job as arbitrage sellers to slip in on the hundreds of thousands of listings where the brands themselves are not interested in selling the product. Because if you do end up trying to compete with the brand, you might get an IP complaint or an inauthentic complaint where the brand can say, hey, we don't know who you are, and Amazon's going to ask for your documentation. And even though we're buying from a very legitimate website right here, we're buying from Menards, they got a ton of stores stores all over the country, and we wouldn't necessarily get our account shut down if we do have to appeal and say, hey, Amazon, we bought these, are legit. It's still going to cause some headaches, and it's still going to make it harder for you to actually end up selling those items on Amazon. So super quick, simple thing to check. Make sure the brand has not sold this item, and especially not within the last couple weeks like this thermostat brand has. Another thing you want to check before pulling the trigger on an item is making sure that you can actually make sales, right? So a big question I get all the time is, can I compete with Amazon? Should I sell on items that Amazon is also selling? And this is a really good example of an item that you'd probably want to avoid, right? So on the SellerAmp alerts panel right here, it's telling me that Amazon is not necessarily sharing the buy box, right? So we can even zoom in down here on the buy box analysis page of SellerAmp. And if you're not familiar with what the buy box means, it's basically just whoever's owning this button right here, the add to cart button. If you've ever shopped on Amazon, I'm sure you've bought 99% of the stuff just by hitting add to cart. And so the key to making sales on Amazon is winning the buy box. And when we look at an item like this Lego set right here, we can see that Amazon over the last 90 days here has hogged 100% of the sales on this listing. So even if you were able to find this item super profitably, Amazon is going to continue to hog a lot of the sales. What you want to see on items that are good to sell, like the vitamins that we started this video with, is a ton of different sellers of all different sizes making a ton of sales, right? So this seller has 30 feedback. They're relatively new to the game and they just made a sale, right? This guy's got 1,000 feedback and they just made a sale. This guy's only got 9 and he made a sale 8 hours ago. This healthy buy box rotation where it's rotating between a ton of different sellers, whether they're big, small, or even Amazon themselves. If you go and look at the buy box statistics on an item and you that, hey, Amazon's on this listing, but they're not hogging all the sales, right? The pie chart looks like this. There's lots of different sellers making sales, even if there's a couple different sellers making sales, right? You just need to see that there's not one specific store that's hogging 100% of the sales that's happening on a product. So now that we've dived into that product sourcing checklist, and hopefully you also downloaded that free checklist that's down below, I want to talk about the other piece of the puzzle with becoming a profitable Amazon seller. And this is where most people get it wrong. Whenever you're buying items to sell on Amazon, if you're expecting to find the best winning items just sitting there at retail price waiting for you, you're going to have a really hard time finding good stuff. So in this next module, I want to break down my 10 favorite ways to find discounts on great profitable inventory. And these profit boosting methods are the real secret behind how I've been able to sell so much on Amazon while maintaining profitability. Please listen up and take notes on this module. So let me show you an example of the types of products that you can sell on Amazon. And this takes us into the first and by far the simplest way to get inventory as cheap as possible. And that's literally just by leveraging a sale that's going on. We can see this pair of shoes is on sale at the Hoka website for $100. Over on Amazon, that exact same pair of shoes is selling for $170, which leaves us with $35 profit every time this sells. Taking it to another really simple way, and a way that people are still not taking advantage of for whatever reason when it comes to finding inventory cheaply. And that's literally just leveraging coupons, right? So you need to have a free Chrome extension or just check free websites, something like a Retail Me Not, or I like to use the Capital One Shopping Chrome extension. And today, for example, we can see on the Nike website that this spring coupon is popping up for us. We can see a lot of these items are going to be 20% off when we use spring. And so immediately when we start looking through this sale here, we can now start stacking discounts on top of things that are on sale, right? So our first thing, super simple, just a clean discount. And now we can stack coupons on top of that, and we can start to make this even better as we go throughout the video. So make sure you get a free coupon Chrome extension. And then another super simple way that you can start to look out for finding discounts on your inventory is by looking at loyalty rewards programs. So anytime before you're buying an item at a website, look up X website loyalty program, right? So Ulta has a good one, for example, here. We can see that for every $1 that you spend, you get points, right? And the more money you spend, the more points you get per point. Those points are worth dollars off. And Ulta is just a quick example of these. Some of the loyalty rewards programs that are out there have literally made me tens of thousands of dollars. And so especially if you land on a website that is consistently paying out, you're able to consistently spend that money on brand new free inventory essentially for your business. That can be a massive margin booster. So it's always worth doing a quick check to see if your website has a loyalty rewards program. The next thing you can take advantage of is an easy way to get discounts on almost any website you want. A lot of the websites out there will have a box at the bottom of every page that looks like this, where it says sign up with your email and get X% off. You'll especially see this on a lot of like clothing and beauty websites. And so on this box right here, we can punch in our email, right? And so let's say my email is warner@gmail.com. Once I sign up there, that's going to send a 10% off coupon that I can apply to any of the products that I'm buying here. And you don't need to make 1,000 email addresses to make this work. You can actually just redirect this email address to make these websites think that you have a new email address, but it all sends back to that original email. You don't have to do any more work. And the way it works is with most email providers, if you put a plus and then let's just say like a 1, this email address is going to redirect to whatever's before that plus sign. So on Gmail's end, they're going to send it to warner@gmail.com. As far as Dick's Sporting Goods is concerned, this is a brand new email address. And so they're going to generate a brand new 10% off coupon code and send it right back to this same email address that we already originally made, right? So we can repeat this as many times as we want. We can do +2, +3. You could just spam the keyboard. That's what I typically like to do. Maybe one of these days I'll end up accidentally typing the same thing. That'll be a good laugh there. But yeah, take advantage of these catch-all emails right here. Super simple, super easy way to make an item that is like borderline very close into a very awesome, profitable lead. And this is the type of stuff that most of those new Amazon sellers out there, the people who are not willing to do the work, they're not doing this type of stuff. And so the more of these simple discounting methods you're using, the higher your margins are going to be, the less competition you're going to have on all these products. So the next simple thing we want to check here is buying discounted gift cards. So if you've never done this before, there's websites like Cardbear. It basically takes a list of a lot of the credible gift card selling websites that are out there and tells you the highest rates. So for example, we were looking at Hoka. I don't think Hoka does gift cards. I know that Ulta does though. So let's say on that example, we found something profitable at Ulta. We're stacking those loyalty rewards programs on top of that. We're checking for catch-alls, for coupons. And now we can also check for discounted gift cards, right? So if we search that on Cardbear, that's going to show me, hey, raise.com seems like they have some of the highest cash back rates for an Ulta gift card today. And we can go in here. It seems like we can just buy a $500 gift card right away and we get 25 bucks back. So 5% cash back basically. And that's $25, especially if you already found something profitably. You have no reason not to hop in here, make some extra money and kind of jump on the items doing it this way. You can also just filter by highest discount and whatever's worth it for you, right? So I don't like to buy a lot of these like $10 gift cards, that kind of thing. Not super worth it in my mind. I do like to buy these big giant gift cards. I'm already finding something that I can spend $500, $1,000, $5,000 on. I'm gonna buy a bunch of gift cards and get just a little bit of extra bonus margin. And a nice benefit to using discounted gift cards, if you have been in the game for a bit and you're starting to get order cancels where websites that really hate resellers for whatever reason, if you use discounted gift cards, you'll have a higher success rate of getting those orders placed. So it's another really awesome way to boost your margins and be able to buy more product. Discounted gift cards is another great one. You also want to be maximizing your cash back, right? So this is a website called Cashback Monitor, and we were looking at Hoka earlier. So let's check and see which cashback provider has the highest cashback rates at Hoka, right? So we can see Retail Me Not right here. They're doing 6% cashback. I wonder if that's like capped at 50 bucks or something like that. Right here, we've got Hoopla, 4% cashback, top cashbacks at 4%. And really, I like to pick a couple of these that I see have the highest success rates. I'll point out a couple right here if you're taking notes on this kind of stuff. I like to use Hoopla. I like to use Top Cashback. I use Rakuten. I also use Mr. Rebates and then Be Frugal. Not really good on Hoka this time, for example, but Be Frugal tends to be pretty high on a lot of other websites. So I like to just cycle between a few of the more trusted ones, and it just simplifies things. I don't want to have a bunch of cashback balances and a million different websites, but these websites can be great. And the cashback from these websites and some credit cards, we'll touch on that here in just a second. Those all end up making my business about an extra $4,000 profit every single month just for going through these cashback providers. And the way it works is, let's say you're buying at Nike.com, you just click this little activate button, it's going to send you right back into the Nike website, and then you'll just go ahead and check out using whatever you ended up making. And another great way to boost your margins, getting a little bit further into the weeds here as well. So leveraging tax exempt programs. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of websites out there that will accept for-profit resale permits. Walmart is one of them though. And I have a full video on my channel if you're like still paying sales tax at Walmart, for example. As long as you have a resale certificate with your state, you can go ahead and submit that resale permit to a couple websites. I know Walmart, Lowe's also accepts it. There's only a couple other of these websites that accept tax exemptions, but it's a super easy way to just decrease your cost of goods sold. If you're already buying that inventory, there's no reason you should be paying sales tax on it if that website allows you to, skip paying sales tax. Because obviously we're buying all this stuff to resell. There's no reason for you to need to pay sales tax on these items. And if you are paying sales tax and it's a website that you just simply cannot avoid it, Hoka's an example of that. Dick's Sporting Goods is an example. They're not going to take resale permits to get around sales tax. What you can do is you can just get a prep center in a state like New Hampshire, right? You can look at Montana, Delaware, anywhere that there is currently no sales tax. So just start diving into Google here, prep center, New Hampshire, start reaching out to a couple of these prep centers, send them an email, try to get a little bit of a vibe for how their business works. Because when you start working with a prep center, you're able to buy all of the inventory. So for example, when I buy profitable items from Hoka, I ship these off to my prep center in Montana and I pay $0 in sales tax because it's a state with no sales tax. I don't need to do any paperwork or anything like that. And so instead of paying on something like this $5 to $10 in sales tax, I pay my prep center about $1.50 to prep a pair of shoes for me, ship it all into Amazon. And so not only do I not have to spend the time of shipping my items off to Amazon, but I also save money, right? So it's a rare thing in business where you can save time and money. So leveraging a prep center, super great way to boost your margins and maybe even do a little bit less work depending on where you are. It's a good idea to do the rough math. So if you're paying 5% in sales tax, you can get somebody to do your prep for $2 a unit. That would mean that even if you're a real hustler and you want to be doing your prep yourself, if you're buying something in that example for more than $40, it makes way more sense to let somebody else do the work. You save money, you get to spend more time with family, finding more products to sell on Amazon, whatever you want to do, because we're not in the business to put stickers on things permanently. Another way that you're going to be able to boost your margins over time sounds really dumb, but this has worked for me in the past. And it's something that a lot of people never think about. They're not willing to do. They're embarrassed about it, or literally just email customer service. So on the Puma website, you can see there's a customer service email right there. On a lot of these websites, there might be like a chat box in the bottom right. So like this Dick's Sporting Goods right there, you can see there's that little chat box. We could talk to a customer service rep and we could say, hey, do you have any coupons going on right now? I'm looking at buying this. Do you have any coupons that would work for it? They don't need to know that you want to buy 1,000 pairs of them, right? You just need to say, hey, do you have any coupon codes thinking about buying it? And sometimes they will put you on some serious game on accident, give you a coupon code that maybe you shouldn't really have. They'll give you a coupon code that you maybe wasn't showing up on Capital One Shopping. It wasn't showing up on their website. And since you took that extra step and just simply asked customer service, hey, I want to buy some stuff. Do you have any coupons? You're going to be able to go the extra mile and boost your margins a little bit with that. So that'd be a coupon that not a lot of people have access to as well, typically. Ask customer service. The worst thing they can do is say no, and then you still have something that is close to profitable or just a little bit profitable. You can buy it anyway. And then you can always continue to boost your margins by leveraging credit cards. I spend the vast majority of my inventory purchases on this card right here, the Spark 2% Cash Plus with Capital One. It is a charge card, so if you want to carry a balance and that kind of stuff, you wouldn't be able to do that with this. But the massive benefit here is that you're going to get 2% back on every dollar you spend. We spend about 30 to 40 grand a week on products, and so that 2% alone is another $2,000 a month back in my pocket just from using a Capital One credit card here. And then if you are someone who needs the credit card to stretch your capital a little bit, you want to go the route of the Amex Plum. So looking at it on the American Express website, right? So the big massive benefit is that you get 60 days to pay off this card. So if you're really trying to stretch your credit, that can even be longer than 60 days, right? So with most credit cards, you get a 30-day payback period. With the MX Plum, you get 60 days. So I'm not recommending that you do this if you're a brand new Amazon seller, but if you're someone who's been in the game for several months, a year, you're making consistent money, you know how to see when items are actually going to sell, you can scale by buying things on the MX Plum, merchant fulfill them so they sell way sooner than that 60-day payback period, and then you can get the money to pay back that card. High risk, like I said, do not do that. I'm not advising any of you to do that, but I have seen some sellers leverage that very successfully to stretch the capital they have available to them. Again, super careful if you are a new seller. But Spark, if you're just trying to get some free extra money on your purchases there, it's one of the highest cash back rates, and the Plum has been fantastic to stretch capital. Stretching your capital as far as possible is one of the best ways to grow quickly on Amazon. And at the end of the day, speed is by far the biggest moat that you can have with anything on Amazon. It's the biggest way that you can make massive profits on Amazon. And if you want to be as fast as possible selling an item, what you want to look for is the ability to merchant fulfill that item. Typically, when you're selling on Amazon, you'll end up shipping those items into Amazon FBA. It'll take 2 to 4 weeks for the items to shuffle around to be available for sale by the customers. But if you leverage Amazon FBM, you can list the item and make the sale literally within the hour. All you need to do is go down to the buy box analysis on SellerAmp, and you just need to verify that people are making sales as FBM sellers here. So for example, we can check out on like a pair of shoes, stuff like this that has a lot of sellers is typically going to be a good fit for you to merchant fulfill those products to make the sale, to get that money back way faster than FBA sellers. So you're more resistant to items prices dropping, and you get that money back faster to reinvest. So on this buy box analysis here, we can see lots of sales over 4 days ago, 6 days ago, a week. So lots of different kind of time periods during which FBM sellers were able to make money. And so this shows me that this is probably the type of item that we'd have no problem making sales if we listed as FBM sellers. This is just a really important step to check because a lot of times with items that are on Amazon, they're going to prioritize FBA sellers for the buy box. It gets it to the customers faster, typically easier customer service, all that good stuff. But if the listing is friendly to FBM sellers, you should massively take advantage of that. And that's how lots of sellers who I've seen grow the fastest, they hit crazy profit numbers. They're leveraging FBM because they can test the concept so much faster. A lot of times they're able to restock the items that are already sold out during the same sales. And that's just not going to happen leveraging FBA. And then another discount method that I want to break down for you guys might not make a lot of sense at first glance. How is a box of donuts a discount method? One of the best ways to make money in any business is to just be a nice, genuine human being to people. And that's no different with reselling, right? So if you roll up to your local mom and pop grocery store, you're rolling up to Target, whatever it is, and you bring in some donuts, a Starbucks gift card, you're shaking hands with the managers, you're just friendly, you're asking what they need. If you tell these store managers a little bit about who you are, what you're in the business of, say, hey, let me know next time you have a bunch of clearance going out, shoot me a quick text, I'll come in and I'll buy a ton of it, right? We can actually do that. We would love to come in and be the first to know when there's a bunch of new clearance coming out at the local Walmart, at the local mom and pop grocery store. And especially as you start to build relationships with these store managers, you never know when they're going to be able to bulk order extra stuff for you. Say you find a really good item that's profitable at Walmart and you need that relationship with the Walmart store manager to say, hey, I would be able to buy 600 of this random item. Could you buy it for me? And I can pick it up from you out of the back of the store, right? Like you never know the relationships that you're going to be able to build with store managers, with anyone who's in leadership in retail. Try bringing a box of donuts, gift cards, shake some hands, let them know what you're up to. And if you do that enough time, you're going to see the power of networking, putting yourself out there. So now that you have all the nitty gritty on sourcing great profitable products to sell on Amazon, what do we do with it next? The next step of the process is obviously getting it shipped off. We talked about it a little bit earlier where you might want to consider listing those items via merchant fulfillment where you can ship those directly to the customer. But what most people do when they're selling on Amazon is ship directly to Amazon FBA. What that allows us to do is pay a really cheap per pound discounted rate to ship off to Amazon's fulfillment centers. And then once it gets to Amazon's fulfillment centers, they're able to provide that prime shipping. They're able to provide all the customer service and shipping out to the orders themselves. And so you can basically let Amazon do all the work of shipping your items for you. But if you've never sent anything to Amazon before, the first one can feel pretty difficult. So this next module is going to break down the complete step-by-step process of shipping your first products into Amazon FBA. Doing this part correctly is super important to getting your items checked in and for sale as soon as possible. So take notes and listen up on this. So let's just take this example item here. This is going to apply for any of the products that you guys find out on Amazon. And so let's just go ahead and walk through the process. So the first thing you're going to need to do anytime you find an item that is profitable is just go ahead and grab the ASIN. So that's basically the barcode that Amazon uses as kind of their custom UPC. It's just a unique identifier, right? So I'm going to grab that from the URL. You can also grab it from something like SellerAmp or a spreadsheet, wherever you stored the product that you found as a profitable lead. And then you're going to want to go ahead and take that over into Amazon Seller Central and then just go ahead and punch in that ASIN. So you'll be able to find the product based on the ASIN. You can also punch in the title if you're not sure what the ASIN might be, but it's a good idea to always use the ASIN or the UPC so that you always specifically find the right product. Once you go ahead and do that, you're going to go ahead and select the condition that you want to sell and then say new, sell this product. And now that we're actually within the create a listing tab, this is where Amazon differs from pretty much any other platform, where all we have to do is list the product that already exists. You can see the photos exist, the title already exists, and all we're doing is selling a listing on a listing that already exists, which is awesome because you don't have to go in and create your own marketing or anything like that. So the couple important things you're going to want to do is go ahead and set your price. I'm just going to usually set it above the current price, so I don't make any sales that are lower than they need to be. So in this case, I'll just do 30, 40, something reasonable. I'm going to go ahead and select my item condition. In this case, we'd be selling a new t-shirt. And then the next thing you're going to want to do, and this is where it might differ from what you might think, especially if you're selling multiple different types of items, go ahead and select I will ship this item myself and then make the quantity 0. So what this is going to do is it's going to create the listing. And then after the listing is created, we can go ahead and say that, hey, Amazon, I want to send these in to Amazon FBA so you guys can take care of all the legwork and shipping it out to customers. And so once we've gone ahead and actually created that listing, you can see that the Under Armour shirt right there already exists. It's going to be that product that is filled by merchant. And right now it's saying, hey, you have 0 of those in stock and we need to go ahead and send some of these in, right? So once you have this, go ahead and select the actual item with the checkbox. If you're selling multiple items, it's as simple as clicking the checkbox on any of the other items that you want to sell as well. So the process is easily repeatable. And then go ahead and go down to this drop-down menu, action selected, and then go ahead and say send or replenish inventory. So this is going to start walking you through the process of actually shipping this item into Amazon FBA. A lot of it's kind of self-explanatory, but the rest is a little bit difficult. The first time you make a shipment, it's going to feel pretty complicated. I won't lie. After that first shipment, it's going to be like, oh, that was easy. I got it now. So once we're actually in on this actual tab right here, go ahead and select the barcode as Amazon
Amazon barcode. Don't use the manufacturer barcode. If you do use the manufacturer barcode, then that's going to commingle your inventory, which means that they're going to be mixing up your inventory with anyone else who's selling this exact product. And you don't know if they're taking good care of their products. You don't know if they're genuine products. They could be fake from China, something like that, right? And so you want to make sure that Amazon is shipping your inventory to your customers and not somebody else's inventory that might not be taken care of as well. So it's super important to not use manufacturer barcode. Go ahead and say print and apply Amazon barcodes myself. And then we're going to go ahead and press list as FBA and send to Amazon. So once you get to this screen here, it's going to tell you a little bit of information about the products. And this is where some of the early mistakes that you might make start coming up. So a couple important things to check here. It's going to be blurred out for you guys, but always make sure that the ship from address is the correct address that you're actually shipping from, because that's going to decide which fulfillment centers it goes to, as well as your shipping cost. And you don't want to be, lying about where you're shipping it from. You'd have to recreate the shipment technically. So make sure that that address is correct. I've had to redo some shipments there, so I don't want you guys to waste time. So the next thing you're going to want to do down here, go ahead and press individual units for your packing details. If you are shipping all of your items in what's called case packed, where every single box is the exact same and it all has the same product in it, you could do that in here as well. But we don't do a ton of that. If you're doing arbitrage, you probably won't do a ton of case packed shipments. And so once you go ahead and get to this next step, it's going to say prep information updated. And so this is just a quick little reminder of, hey, this type of item needs some special prep. So in this case, we do need to polybag this item. Makes sense, it's a t-shirt. So if it's rolling around at the Amazon fulfillment center, it's important to make sure that it's, protected. So it's good to go ahead and throw this in a clear plastic poly bag. I personally use this brand right here for my poly bags. A lot of times they're sold out, as you can see right now, because they're really good. They already have the ready to ship label on there in case you're doing multi-packs or anything like that. Important to have that on there. The other thing you need to make sure it has is a suffocation warning. So if these guys are out of stock, just go ahead and go to Amazon and look for just like a variety pack of poly bags. But again, make sure they're clear and make sure that they do have a suffocation warning of some kind so that you don't get in trouble with Amazon. Once you get all that set up, you're just going to go ahead and throw them in a poly bag here. You don't need to label it yet. Throw it in the bag first, and then we're going to worry about some labeling. We'll talk about that here in a second, right? So we're just going to go ahead and acknowledge this. It's saying, hey, you need to throw this in a poly bag. And then in this case, I'm going to say that the seller is going to prep the units, and then the seller is also going to label the units. If you want to save some time, you can have Amazon label the units for you. You can see it's 55 cents a unit. So sometimes that's worth it, especially if you're really crunched on time. But keep in mind that it is going to slow down your lead time, because it's going to take Amazon probably more time than it would take you to put a label on the items. So keep that in mind. It is an option if you guys want to save a ton of time there. And then we're just going to go ahead and press save. So that's going to share all that information with Amazon. Amazon knows how we're going to go ahead and send it into the warehouse. And then you're going to go ahead and enter how many units of this product you have. So just for example here, let's say we have 20 units of these t-shirts here. And then it's going to say that we're ready to pack, right? So before you do that, go ahead and press the print all SKU labels here. And then this is going to print out the labels on a variety of formats. What I would recommend if you're a true beginner is just to do this 30 up option here. It's going to print it out in a big sheet. We can even see what it looks like here. It's going to print out just like that. If you're on the more advanced side of things, you can also use thermal printing here. So we personally do thermal printing because it's going to let you print your labels out faster, and they're all going to print in one sheet. We do this with a Dymo or a Rollo label printer. Those are not essential for you guys just getting started out, but that is going to be faster than using the 30 up labels. So it's totally up to you on what you want to do there. But once you go ahead and have all those labels, see we've got these labels right here. We're going to go ahead and print these labels out on a 30 up label sheet. In this case, each one of these is going to be a label that we can go ahead and take off and sticker over the item. And in our example with the t-shirts there, you can just go ahead and slap the label on the outside of the poly bag with the t-shirts inside. If you have an item here, I've just got something sitting around the house. If you have an item that is kind of more hard shell, you can put the sticker directly over the barcode. That's really important. If there is an exposed barcode on the product, make sure you cover the barcode with that sticker so that when Amazon scans it in, they don't get confused and they're only going to see Amazon's own barcode. And this is going to very specifically identify these products as your products. So it's going to keep it all in the same place for you. So you're going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and print out all the labels for your shipment. If you do have the time to do it, and most of you guys do have the time to do it, go ahead and print out the labels, put it on the items yourself. It's going to save you a lot of time versus paying Amazon to do it or paying a prep center to do it. So go ahead and get all those labeled up. We're going to go ahead and X out of that there. And then after you get that done, we're going to go ahead and press pack individual units here. So this is just going to start communicating that information with Amazon. In this case, since you just have 20 units, we can just go ahead and throw it all in one box. So we're going to say everything will fit into one box. We can enter our box dimensions here. So say 20 by 20 by 10. And then with those 20 t-shirts there, it's probably 10 pounds. Again, the materials that you're going to need for this are not super advanced. At this stage, I would recommend that you go ahead and just pick up something like a super simple tape measure. Go ahead and measure the dimensions of the box. You probably already got one sitting around in the tool chest. Something you might not have is a postage scale. And this postage scale is going to need to be rated for at least 50 pounds because that's the weight that is going to be the maximum for any of these boxes that you send in. So make sure that if you do go ahead and buy one of these scales, make sure that it can hold at least 50 pounds, I'd really recommend something like this. It's got a little bit bigger base. This is very similar to the one that we use in our shipping facility. And as you can see here, they're really not too expensive. It's 35 bucks. So it'll give you an accurate reading as to what you're actually paying there. And then, yeah, we can go ahead and head back over here. So go ahead and measure up that box, figure out how heavy it is, all that good stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and confirm that information. A lot of times we might even run into that here. Amazon is going to kind of compare that information against what the item should weigh. And it might say, hey, why is your box only 10 pounds? This box should weigh 40 pounds based on how heavy the items are. In this case, they're just t-shirts. So we're not going to run into that too much here, but we do want to make sure that you are correctly entering in the shipping weight and the dimensions. Otherwise, you might get in some trouble with Amazon or UPS, however you end up shipping these products. But once we go ahead and take care of that, we're just going to go ahead and press confirm and continue there. We got all our products boxed up, all 20 of those shirts. And then it's going to figure out which fulfillment center it wants us to ship these to. So in this case, again, my address is going to be blurred right there, but you can see in this case, it's wanting us to ship these to the fulfillment center in Las Vegas. And so all we have to do at this point is just figure out which date we're going to have this actually shipped out. So one quick tip for you guys that I'll recommend as well is as you're prepping these boxes, usually you can do it the next day, something like that. And especially in this case, we ended up having UPS as our assigned carrier. If you are going through UPS, keep in mind that you can do UPS pickups. That's something that I didn't do for way too long. I was throwing all my boxes in my car, especially as you guys start to do more and more shipments out of the house or the apartment, wherever you're at. It's going to save you a ton of time. So go ahead and go on ups.com. You can make an account. You can schedule a pickup and just let them know how many boxes you have. It costs like 6 to 12 bucks, depending on how far out in the country you are. For us, it was like 6 bucks. So should be really, really cheap. Definitely worth your time to avoid having to drive to the UPS store, all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and select that we want to go through UPS in this case. We're going to go ahead and press accept charges and confirm shipping. And it took just about 15 seconds there for that to all load up. And now it's asking us to go ahead and print out our labels here. So again, if you have a thermal printer, you can use a thermal printer. If you just got a standard printer at home, I just started on a standard printer that I had at home. You can go ahead and print it to this label size here. So we're going to go ahead and print, and then that's going to give us our box labels in a format that we can go ahead and slap them on the actual boxes that we're shipping into Amazon. And if you don't have some fairly simple labels here, you're going to want to look for some half sheet labels is what they're called. So just something like this. You can see there's 200 labels there for 10 bucks. So again, pretty negligible as far as how expensive these are. So go ahead and print out your actual FBA label and put that on the outside of the box. And the only rule that you need to keep in mind when you're labeling the outside of these boxes is to not put the sticker over the seam of the box. So where you put the tape to close up the box, don't put the sticker over that. Other than that, you're totally fine. The reason for that is when they go at Amazon and they cut open the box, or even maybe the UPS store has to cut it open or something like that, right? You don't want your FBA label to be unscannable because then they're not going to know what's in your box. So always make sure that you're just putting these labels somewhere not on the seam of the box. It doesn't matter where you put it on the box beyond that. And then go ahead and tape it all up, make sure it's secure. I would typically do, a line of tape across the top and then across the bottom, and just really make it snug and secure, especially if you're getting closer to those 50-pound boxes that are the maximum for small parcel shipment. So we're going to go back over here to send to Amazon. And then from here, we're ready to ship, right? So we're just going to go ahead and, we can view our tracking details. At this point, you're completely done. You don't have to do anything else on this screen. You just have to go ahead and make sure everything's all packaged up. Again, you can take it to UPS, USPS, wherever you end up shipping it through. Obviously have them pick it up if possible. So I also want to touch on shipping costs as well. I know that's super important for a lot of you new sellers. As you can see here, we just shipped 10 pounds of product to another state for about $7, which is pretty cheap, especially as a consumer, but that's actually on the expensive side as far as shipping into Amazon goes, because the closer you can get your boxes to 50 pounds, I typically fill mine to about 48 or 49 pounds. I don't want to go over 50 because you get a penalty from Amazon, but as close as you can get to 50 without going over, it's like the price is right? So if you can get that done, you are going to get shipping closer to 25 cents, 30 cents, 35 cents a pound, which is super, super affordable, obviously, and really doesn't eat into the margin too much at all. So make sure, if possible, try to fill up those boxes to as close to 50 pounds as possible. I also want to mention a couple mistakes I see a lot of people make that I want you to avoid. So the first mistake that's pretty common is not covering the MSRP. So especially if you're selling the product for way more than the MSRP, this is super common, especially with clothing products, like probably that Under Armour shirt, probably have a little tag on it that says, hey, the suggested price is 15 bucks or 20 bucks. But on the listing, we were hoping to sell it for 25 bucks or 30 bucks. And you'll have way more aggressive examples too, especially with shoes. It might say, hey, the suggested retail is 40 bucks. And then the Amazon customer buys it for 70, right? I think it's crazy. I wouldn't be buying shoes at these types of markups that Amazon customers are buying at, but it's important to make sure that you're covering the MSRP or taking the MSRP off so they don't get negative feedback. You don't want customers to have a sour taste, but at the end of the day, they are paying for convenience. So Amazon customers are aware that they're typically paying a premium, but you don't want to put it right on the box right in front of their face that, hey, I made money off of you. Like, just go ahead and take the MSRP off, and then that's going to avoid some returns and negative feedback. Another super common mistake that I see beginners make is not understanding how to package multi-packs. So a lot of your best items, a lot of the items that are super profitable are going to be packs of 2 or, bundles with other different types of items. So let's say you're bundling a shampoo with a conditioner. In this case, this item is just 2 of the exact same product. And so if you are going to send an item like this into Amazon, make sure that you bundle them together. So in this example, the 2-pack, let's say you bought 20 bottles of it. When you're telling Amazon how much you have, you're going to say that you have 10 units because you have 10 units of a 2-pack. You're not going to send in all 20 bottles by themselves. Amazon does not do the bundling or making the multi-packs for you. Super important that you guys take care of that yourself. So let's say you wanted to sell this exact product right here. You would want to make sure that you put the 2 bottles inside of a poly bag, seal it all up, and then put your SKU label on the outside of this bag. You don't need to label on the inside, but it is super important that you put both of those bottles inside the bag. Otherwise, customers are going to get it. They're only going to have 1 bottle and you're going to get some negative feedback because they were expecting twice as much product as they ended up getting. So make sure you keep that in mind. And as you're entering in the units that you send to Amazon, you're entering the amount of ASINs that you have, not the amount of bottles that you have or the amount of products that you have, right? So let's say this shampoo was a 10-pack, right? You've got 100 bottles of shampoo. That's going to be the same example, right? You're still going to say that you have 10 units in Amazon's eyes, and then you're going to box those up all together and in those 10 packs. And if you ever do end up making a bundle that's too big to fit inside of a poly bag, you're probably going to want to go ahead and put it in just like an unmarked brown box. And then you're probably going to want something like these. So these sold as set stickers. You can even see that people are already buying these. They're searching FBA at the end. There was that suggested search there. So if you are shipping something like that in, if you want to be extra safe as well, you can put these on the outside of even just this 2-pack that we were just looking at, that Revlon shampoo, right? Typically, I'll just put these on the boxes that I make. If I'm ever boxing up 10 bottles of shampoo, it's not all going to fit in one little bag. The bag will probably break open, something like that. We need to keep them safe. So I would put them in a box by themselves and then put the SKU label and the do not separate, sold as set stickers on the outside of that box that has the 10 units. And then when you have, let's say you have those boxes with the 10 bottles of shampoo, you're going to go ahead and put those boxes inside of the bigger box that then you can put, 5 units of it, send it into Amazon that way. Just keep in mind that if you are shipping in those, those 10 packs, you're probably going to want to put those inside of another box, or just let Amazon know that each one of the boxes that you're sending in is actually only 1 unit per box.
So now that you know the full process, I'm sure you can tell that shipping items into Amazon FBA can take a pretty good amount of work, but for some of you, it might make sense for you to completely skip that step of the process because you can work with what are called prep centers, where you're able to ship your profitable inventory directly to a prep center. And then when it arrives at them, they're going to unbox it all, label it for you, and ship it off to Amazon on your behalf. Now, obviously, these companies aren't doing this for free. So in this next module, I'm going to break down if it might make sense for you to hire a prep center, what a good prep center looks like, and how to work with these prep centers so that you can do less work, stop touching those products, and focus on spending time with family or growing your business by spending more money on profitable inventory. So we're going to jump into the computer here in just a second. I'll show you exactly what you need to be looking out for. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is how to know if you're ready to get a prep center or not. Getting a prep center is something that I think a lot of beginners tend to rush into. It can be very exciting, the fully outsourced Amazon business. I don't want to have to do anything. But in the early days of your Amazon business, it's going to be really important to do a little bit of manual work yourself, especially doing your prep work sometimes. So let me break down what this decision should be. The first thing you want to think about is if you're paying sales tax in your state. Most of you guys probably are paying sales tax. When I first started doing online arbitrage, I was paying 9.75% sales tax. We were very profitable for several months without a prep center. So if you are paying sales tax, don't let that be a limiting belief that you can't make money doing online arbitrage. You absolutely can make money. But even back then, I probably cost myself a little bit of money because I did not go out and get a prep center in a sales tax free state. So for a lot of you guys, you're going to be paying 5-6% sales tax. So let's say you are buying an item that's $50. If you're going to pay 5% sales tax on that, you're going to pay $2.50 just in sales tax on that item. On the other side, most prep centers that'll ship to Amazon for you are going to cost anywhere from like $1 to $2 a unit. So not only can you ship that item to, let's say, Montana or Delaware, one of these tax-free states, not only are you going to be able to ship that to that state, pay no sales tax, but you're also going to pay less in prep center costs. So let's say you're paying $1.50 per unit at your prep center. You're only going to pay $1.50 on that $50 item, and you didn't have to touch it, and you didn't have to pay sales tax on it. So you saved $1 and you saved your own time. So it's kind of a no-brainer in that regard. That especially if you have a high sales tax state, it can be a good thing to go out and especially in, the next few months, the first few months of your business, just to go and get a prep center set up so that you can save on that sales tax advantages. The only thing I want you to think about when you are deciding whether or not you should switch to a prep center or not is just really making sure that you have a full understanding of the prep process. I wouldn't recommend outsourcing to a prep center before you've done at least a shipment or two yourself. You want to understand when your prep centers are doing a good job versus doing a bad job. Obviously, the caveat to that would be if you're an international seller. So if you're, in Canada or in Europe, Asia, wherever, you're
you're probably not going to be able to, send a shipment into Amazon FBA if you're halfway across the world. So you probably would just have to jump straight into the prep center. But if you are in the US, you should probably just send in your first shipment or two, manually do it yourself, learn the process, and then you can start thinking about getting a prep center. The other thing to think about before you go out and get a prep center, especially if you are sales tax exempt, is going to be the actual cost of that prep. So especially in the beginning, if you're super limited on capital, you don't want to be spending money trying to save your time when you're low on capital. You want to spend your time to stretch your capital, right? So if you're in the early days, you don't have a ton of money, you're trying to stretch it as far as possible, you probably shouldn't have a prep center unless it's genuinely saving you money in that sales tax example we were talking about. Otherwise, you're going to be paying money when you could just be paying time to stretch your capital further. So I want you to think about that as well. So now that you're actually ready to go ahead and get set up with a prep center, let's just go ahead and break it down a little bit. How I would recommend you go out and try to find a prep center for your business. So this is going to be a very variable process. I think the best way to find a good prep center is to find kind of a very small mom and pop type prep center. There's a couple reasons for that, but most of the time you're just going to want to have that better communication. You're going to want to have an address, especially if you're doing online arbitrage. You want to have an address that not a lot of other stores have seen. So that is the downside with some of these bigger prep centers, is that you can definitely run into some address bans and that kind of stuff. But let's just start hunting for a prep center here. So you can see here I've just Googled Amazon prep center, and I might even add on to that. So let's just add a sales tax free state. So I know that Delaware is a sales tax free state. So from here, we might just want to see, go down the list and see which different prep centers we could go ahead and reach out to. I would probably skip the sponsored results here. And honestly, I would probably just scroll down a little bit here, give it a couple scrolls there, and then we can start seeing, if any of these prep centers might be more our speed. So here's a prep center, Art of Logistics. It seems like it might be more for like private label or something like that. And they got eBay, Etsy, all that good stuff. They could be a prep center though. Let's check it out. FBA prep center, contact us. So it's got a little blank there. Really, I'd like to see where they're located. This is kind of a weirder one. We also want to see this right here. Seems like they might be more catered towards like private label, that kind of thing. So we might skip out on them. There's also going to be a bunch of like directories like this. So I think this one might be like a Pakistan domain, but these are US prep centers. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but this seems to be a big list of prep centers you can check out. The downside of this is that to be on this list, they have to be, decently sized. And so if you're looking on a list like this, you're probably not going to find that ideal mom and pop prep center that you might be looking for. But let's just go ahead and check out a couple of these here. So especially any of these tax-free ones, they're kind of sticking out to you. I might just go ahead and start opening up some of these. So here we got Delaware Prep Center. We know we're not going to be paying sales tax in Delaware. Just start to get a feel for what their fees are. So in this case, looks like you might be paying about $1.66 a unit if you are doing decent volume. If you're like a brand new seller, seems like these might be higher based on these pricing. Like I probably wouldn't go with these guys just based on the pricing. Seems like maybe a little more catered towards higher volume sellers. Let's check out a couple of the other ones here. So Prep Ninjas. I think I've heard of these guys before. So you can go Prep Services, FBA Prep, and some of these are going to have wait lists and that kind of stuff. Like a lot of these really good prep centers are going to have long lists. So this one seems a little bit more catered towards arbitrage sellers, right? So over here, if you're doing less than 200 units a month, it's going to cost you $2 a unit to ship in. That's decently high for prep costs. On the flip side over here, it looks like if you're shipping a decent amount, they're only going to charge you about $1.35. A lot of times there might be some extra fees to look out for as well. So if you are, let's say you really do a lot of shoes, you want to be on the lookout for that, especially 25 cents for shoes isn't too bad at all in this example. I've seen upwards of, an extra $1, $2 extra to prep a pair of shoes. So if you're doing any certain category, you want to think about that, right? So if you're doing oversized units, that's going to be extra. If you have to bubble wrap things, it's going to be extra. Makes sense that these things, they take extra work. They're going to take extra materials. It makes sense that they would cost extra, but these are the things you want to think about while you're looking for a prep center. And then really just try to find the best prep center that works for you, has good fees, seems somewhat legit. And then from here, it's just going to be starting to reach out to some of these different prep centers here. So let's say you wanted to contact these guys. You could just go ahead and let's see. So ready to sign up? Like they've got, instructions right on their website here. Right over here, contact us. It's probably just going to be pretty simple contact blank. You call that phone number. Really, I would highly suggest you get on the phone with one of these prep centers, especially before you're going to ship a prep center, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of inventory. It's important that you can, trust them a little bit, that you've talked to them. Just say, hey, do you have, experience doing, XYZ? I sell a lot of this. Do you have any other clients who are doing that kind of stuff? Just talk about the kind of stuff that you're wanting to send. Make sure there's not any hidden fees for the type of stuff you want to send. Make sure you've got somebody's phone number at these prep centers. So as you're going through here, starting to talk to people, who's my point of contact, all that kind of stuff. You want to be really aware of what's going on at these prep centers because they're going to have all of your inventory, right? So I know a lot of people get a little bit overwhelmed by that, especially in the beginning. It can be kind of scary to trust somebody else with all of your inventory. So it's important to hop on. I've always hopped on a Zoom call with all of my prep centers beforehand, just chatted for 15, 30 minutes, something like that, ask them some questions, talk about their experience with Amazon and just get a feel for how competent they might really be, how many shipments they're doing, that kind of stuff. You really want to make sure that these people are going to have high attention to detail because they're, like I said, you're going to be trusting them with all your inventory. You want to make sure that if something says pack of 2, they're going to catch that pack of 2. So that's kind of stuff you want to be looking out for there. So in terms of actually going out and finding a prep center, there's not really much of a secret sauce, so to speak. If there was, I would show it to you guys. It's really just going to be a lot of digging through Google. If you do run into a prep center that's full, maybe say, hey, do you have anyone you can refer me to? That's actually how I find my current prep center. I was reaching out to random companies. I was 6 pages deep in Google. They said, hey, we're full, but there's this company that we've been working with a little bit. They're looking for some more clients. And that's actually who I still work with for most of my prep work. So anything like that you can do to go in and find those prep centers, absolutely take advantage of that. Hop on a Zoom call, ask them all those questions we were talking about. What is your standard rates? Do you have any hidden charges? Hey, I buy a lot from XYZ website. Do you guys get packages from there? That's something that was really important to me is, if we're buying from a lot of product from a few websites, we want to make sure that those websites aren't banning that address, right? So if you buy a bunch of product from Target and Target already knows that address, that prep center's address, probably don't want to be working with that prep center. So come to that call with a list of questions. If you don't have a list of questions, we threw one in the FBA roadmap. Check that out. Especially if you're already a member, might as well. And that's our step-by-step guide to Amazon. Comes with a lot of other good stuff. You can check that out down below. There's lots of other good stuff besides prep center questions, obviously. So the next thing we want to do is actually ship off inventory to these prep centers, right? So we've gone through the interview process. We know we can trust our prep center. I would recommend shipping them kind of a test batch of items. So whatever their minimum is, maybe it's 100 units, maybe, hey, we're just going to ship your inventory every Monday. Just give them a little bit of inventory to ship in. And then from there, try to track, how long it's actually taking them to receive inventory versus shipping it out. Make sure that they're actually delivering on a lot of the guarantees they provide. So some of them are going to say, hey, we'll give it to you and we'll get it received and shipped out in 48 hours. Make sure they're living up to that. And as you are adding inventory to these prep centers, I'm just going to go ahead and show you how a lot of these prep centers usually do things. This is very similar to what it looks like, where we're just writing down the name, the units, that kind of stuff. So like in the orange columns here, this would be a lot of what we would actually give to the prep centers. So we're going to write down the ASIN, the UPC, how many we bought, all that good stuff. And then when the item actually comes in, let's say you only got 9 units, they shorted you a unit, you want to be aware of that kind of stuff. So a lot of times this is going to be based on a Google Sheet. Kind of a quick time saver as well is going in to, any of those items that you're sourcing. Let's say you found this item profitably for $3. Seems like it'd be a pretty awesome item. Just an example here. Something that saves me a ton of time is just using SellerAmp over here, punching in that cost. And then in this example, I've just clicked prep center. This is kind of my demo account here. So when we do that, we can quickly export whatever information we want over here. So we can export, like I have it set up to just export the name, ASIN, UPC, what my cost was and what my list price is. You could add a bunch of other things to that with SellerAmp over there. So I would take advantage of something like that, especially if it's all on a Google Sheet. This saves us a bunch of time. So then all you have to do is come in here and say, we bought 100 units of this. We bought it from, what is this, a vitamin? We bought it from Walgreens. Write down the date, whatever other information you want to include on here, because the prep centers are going to be pulling information from this Google Sheet. Sometimes they'll use like a listing software if you want to use that instead to store a lot of products. I personally prefer Google Sheets with a lot of mine. So you can restore any information you want on here. A lot of times as they're listing, they can store this information in your listing software. So in this example, they're going to punch in Walgreens. They're going to punch in the fact that I paid $3 a unit for it. And so I'm not going to have to do any of that back-end accounting work because they're going to have it all logged in my listing softwares already. And so now that you've found a good prep center, you're communicating with them. Usually it's going to be via Google Sheet. Sometimes they have like their own in-house softwares. Can't really prepare you for that here on video. If they do have their own in-house softwares, just have a conversation with them. Ask to hop on Zoom with somebody. Hey, can you just walk me through how you guys want things? But for the most part, a lot of you guys will be using Google Sheets here. So make sure you take advantage of that kind of SellerAmp trick. Another thing I would highly advise you go ahead and get set up, it's kind of a nugget for you guys, is just having something on these prep center spreadsheets. So very simply in this example, anytime something goes missing or, we receive the wrong item, something like that, there's going to be mistakes that these suppliers make. It's only natural. So let's say you bought this and they shipped you, the 200 count, right? We only bought the 120 count. That'd be a pretty awesome mistake in your favor, but that's not going to be on your prep center spreadsheet, right? So a lot of times these prep centers, if you don't give them somewhere to communicate those errors, they might just sweep it under the rug, not really talk about it with you. So just set something up super simple like this, where they can just scan the UPC in of the product. If it's not already on your original prep center spreadsheet, just say, hey, can you scan the UPC in here? Let me know how many units we have, and then just drop any notes, right? So this is exactly what we do with our prep centers. It doesn't have to be fancy. Hey, we received this UPC. It wasn't on your spreadsheet. There was 5 units of it. Maybe there's something wrong with it. The security tags are still on it, that kind of kind of thing. Like anything you'd want to know, they might be throwing those notes in here. And then we would just go in here and add it to the next line. And then, in this example, they sent us the 200 count, the UPC would be there. And I would add it to line 4. So, hey, it's on line 4. They would go in and just be able to list it from there. So it's kind of a more technical thing, but if you're not giving these prep centers a place to communicate the mistakes that are happening with you, then they're probably just not bringing them up at all with you. So make sure you have something like this so you can kind of stay on the same page and not, let products slip through the cracks. And after you do go ahead and add your products to that Google Sheet, listing software, whatever the prep center wants you to use, usually it's going to be very case by case on how often you want to ship items in. I would recommend having a good line of communication with your prep center. So be aware of when they're going to send the next shipment. So some of them will say, hey, pick a day and we'll ship whatever has arrived to us on that day. The other side of that will be, hey, we'll ship a shipment in whenever you want, but it has to be at least X amount of units. So pretty common one is, hey, we'll do a shipment whenever you want, but it has to be at least 100 units. So just go ahead and communicate that with your actual prep center. And then from there, the prep centers usually are going to go ahead and list that item for you, especially if you're using a listing software. Just go ahead and add them to that account. Some of them will use Amazon Seller Central, but most of the prep centers are going to be creating those listings for you. They're just going to add all that information that you're storing on those Google Sheets for you. They're going to go ahead and label the products for you, so you no longer have to slap labels on products. You can use your time for the high value skill of sourcing instead of putting stickers on things. The other thing they're going to do is box it all up for you, slap a label on it. They're also going to need access to your Amazon Seller Central account, so you can give them like limited permissions. So all you have to do is give them access to like creating FBA shipments, adding products, that kind of thing. So don't worry, they're not going to have full control of your seller account. And you can give them limited control to just go in and create those labels, create that shipment. And it's something you're going to want them to have the privilege to do. Otherwise, you're going to have to go in and do the manual work. And it kind of defeats the purpose of hiring and paying a service to do the work for you if you're going in and still having to do, listing or printing out the labels for them and all that good stuff. And then once you get to that step in the process where they're just slapping labels on things, putting it outside, having UPS come pick it up, whatever they're using, congrats, you have a prep center. You no longer have to put labels on things yourself. It honestly is a very good time-freeing activity. Just don't rush into it, especially if you kind of need the capital. The hardest part of getting these prep centers set up is making that initial connection.
So if you watched all the way to this point in the video, congratulations, and now the ball's in your court. You now have the complete game plan to go out and crush selling on Amazon, and you can easily hit your first $10,000 month if you give it enough effort. I'll leave a link down below for the Amazon Launchpad, which is even more free resources for you to learn how to sell on Amazon. There's a sheet of over 1,800 brands that you can get automatically approved to sell for free. There's that leads checklist, a spreadsheet to track all of your purchases as they come in, and tons more. And again, it's completely free, so go ahead and check that out. If you made it this far into the video, you're clearly serious about making money selling on Amazon. So also let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. I'm super happy to answer those for you. And if you wouldn't mind also sharing some value with my business, please hit that subscribe button down below. That helps me out with the algorithm for helping you out today. And as you go out and start making money online, just remember that everyone in your life who might doubt you is correct until they aren't. Selling on Amazon is hard, and for the first little bit, it probably would make way more sense to get a job. But since you made it this far, you understand the value of compounding your own work over time. And I want you to know that every dollar you make online gets progressively easier. And through selling on Amazon, you're going to be able to build the systems that allows you to give yourself a 50, 100, 200% raise every year. That's never going to be possible with that fallback job. So I'm super excited to see you go out and crush the game selling on Amazon. Let's get after it. Let me know if I can do anything to support your journey. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you next time.